In my past life, my sister married a rough butcher, while I ended up with the local troublemaker. Later, that troublemaker struck it rich, bought several buildings in the city, and let me spend his money without a second thought. Meanwhile, my sister couldn't stand the smell of pigs on the butcher, refused to share a bed with him, and ended up running around with the village rogue, at our mother's urging. I went to convince my sister to make the best of her marriage with the butcher. My sister, green with envy at the sight of me dripping with jewels, seized the chance while I was fetching water and struck the back of my head with a hammer. The moment I opened my eyes, we had both traveled back in time to the day the matchmaker came to propose a marriage arrangement. Before I could react, my sister grabbed the matchmaker's hand and insisted on marrying the local troublemaker. The whole family was stunned. The matchmaker gasped in shock, and I was the only one struggling to hold back my laughter. Lee Gooden isn't a late bloomer, nor has he turned over a new leaf. Every cent of that money was earned by me. But does my sister really have what it takes to keep that troublemaker Lee Gooden in check? Mother, I refuse to marry phone you. If I'm to marry anyone, it'll be Lee Gooden. After my sister declared this with fiery conviction, everyone looked astonished, and the matchmaker gasped in shock. Only I remained calm, taking a sip of water. Because I knew my sister had also been reborn. In our past life, mother favored my sister and wanted her to marry the wealthiest and most capable butcher in the village. She carelessly pushed me on to Lee Gooden, using the bride price he gave our family to pad my sister's dowry instead. My dowry was just a few worn-out quilts. She comforted me, saying, "I'm worried your sister might be mistreated after marriage, so our family must do our part to support her." That Lee Gooden clearly dotes on his wife. Unlike your sister, you'll be marrying into a life of comfort. When mother heard that my sister was to marry Lee Gooden, she slapped her thigh in frustration. "Did you stuff yourself silly last night and lose your damn mind?" My sister laughed like a total goofball and dragged Mom into the main hall. From a distance, the two of them were whispering intimately to each other. No one knew what was said, but Mom first looked shocked, then confused, before finally accepting it calmly. Amid her lingering doubts, the two marriage arrangements were finalized. In the dead of night, the crows on the old locust tree had fallen asleep, yet Mother's room remained brightly lit. I pushed the door open with a creak, and Mother turned her head from the Kong. When Mother saw it was me, the tender smile vanished from her face, and she turned away again. I urged her to rest early, but Mother said, "I'm worried about your sister. While I'm still able, I want to make a few more wedding quilts for her. Your sister isn't like you. She married Lee Gooden so you could have a better life. Remember to help your sister's family in the future. If she's doing well, you'll be better off too." Looking at the red cotton quilt embroidered with dragons and phoenixes on the bed, I casually asked, "Mother, what about mine?" Her needlework paused slightly, and her tone turned odd. "You're about to marry the richest butcher in the village, yet you're still trying to take advantage of this old woman. Even the stingiest landlord wasn't as shrewd as you." After hearing those words, I turned around, closed the door, and left. I didn't tell her it was going to rain that night, so she went out to gather the cotton that was drying outside. The next day, I was jolted awake by the sound of crying in the yard. All I could hear was my mother wailing, "Oh heavens! How could you be so blind? My own daughter is getting married. But this cotton is damp and moldy. What am I supposed to do?" I huddled under the quilt, quietly snickering to myself. A miserable marriage paired with a moldy quilt. How perfectly fitting for my sister. Annoyed by the noise, my sister threw off the quilt, draped a jacket over her shoulders, yanked the door open, and snapped at Mom impatiently, "All right, these shabby quilts aren't even worth showing off. If you really cared, you'd get me a pair of gold bracelets for my dowry." Mother's sobbing stopped abruptly, not because she was hurt by my sister's words. Instead, it was as if a mental block had cleared. She slapped herself across the face. "Why didn't I think of that? My daughter really is the clever one. Yesterday, Fengyu gave our family 3,000 yuan as a betrothal gift, enough to buy a pair of 40-gram gold bracelets." I clenched my fists under the covers. "So they're using my betrothal money to buy gold bracelets for my sisterly chower, while tossing me a few worn-out quilts. Unbelievable." My sister finished dressing, glanced back at my feigned slumber, leaned against the door and sneered, "Sleeping like a log. You two are a match made in heaven. Not like me. I'm going to marry the future richest man. Li Tao, you're only fit to shovel pig slop with the butcher, while you envy me dripping in gold and silver." After tossing out those words, she swayed her slender waist and went off to cozy up to Lee Gooden. My sour mood completely vanished after hearing her words. If I remember correctly, Lee Gooden is currently lying in Widow Zhang's bed, but my sister is so eager to marry him. This minor issue can be overlooked with a blink. After all, even more serious troubles were lying in wait. just waiting for her to uncover them. A month later, the entire village gathered at my house for the feast. My sister suggested we hold the celebration together to make the occasion even more festive for the family. Truth be told, I knew Lee Gooden couldn't afford to host a banquet, so my sister shamelessly proposed the joint celebration just to win his heart. Everyone knows Feng Yu is the wealthiest not just in the village, but in the entire town. No one even comes close. The Feng family keeps over a dozen black pigs in their backyard, each plump and sturdy, with big city businessmen making special trips to offer top dollar for them. At a time when most households could only hope to eat meat during holidays and festivals, the Fengs had long since achieved the luxury of having meat on the table at every meal. In my past life, after finishing backbreaking farm work and dragging my famished body home, I'd catch the scent of pork wafting from the Feng household. How I envied my sister for marrying Feng Yu. She never had to toil in the fields and enjoyed meat with every meal. Occasionally, Feng Yu would give me a few racks of ribs. Blushing with embarrassment, I repeatedly tried to decline but eventually accepted them reluctantly. I suddenly recalled the village women gossiping at the entrance. They'd talk about the rippling muscles beneath Feng Yu's thin shirt. No one in the village could match his raw, powerful build, yet Feng Yu possessed strikingly handsome features that would still stand out even 2 decades later. When slender frames became the ideal, he'd still command a place of his own. I envy my sister for not knowing what's good for her, yet I'm relieved she mistook a fisheye for a pearl and didn't get involved with such a person. This time around, it's finally my turn to enjoy such good fortune. Firecrackers crackled all day outside, saturating the air with the pungent smell of gunpowder. Children gathered gleefully at the doorway, peeking in at me with curious smiles. When I caught her, she blushed and exclaimed in surprise, "The bride is so beautiful, her skin is so fair, even whiter than the snow we had last winter." My sister-in-law pulled a handful of wedding candies from her pocket and handed them out, telling the children to go play somewhere else. She walked into the room, set down the rosewood tray she was carrying, and picked out a piece of pastry she knew I liked before handing it to me. I wolfed it down and was amazed to find that it tasted infinitely better than any pastry I'd ever had before. My sister-in-law touched my wedding dress with envy. "No wonder this dress costs 10,000 yuan. Look at the embroidery, the tailoring. It's absolutely worth every penny." Hearing the price of 10,000, I nearly choked. My sister-in-law quickly brought me some tea to help me recover. I looked down and saw cake crumbs all over my dress, and my heart sank. "This wedding dress is so expensive, and I've stained it. Is your brother going to be mad?" My sister-in-law paused for a moment, then burst into roaring laughter. "That fool of a brother of mine would be over the moon. Why on earth would he blame you?" Sis, it suddenly came back to me. In her past life, when my sister Li Chao got married, she wore the same thing I did, a red wedding dress borrowed from a married woman in the village. "I've never worn such an exquisitely tailored white wedding gown," my sister-in-law told me. "Back when the matchmaker came to propose on my brother's behalf, he had already asked me to find out your measurements and sent someone to order this from the city." I was taken aback, at a complete loss for words. 1,000 questions swirled in my mind as my gaze unconsciously drifted toward these pastries. My sister-in-law winked at me mischievously. "And these pastries, my brother knew you'd love them. He specially bought them from the city this morning." My lips parted slightly, eyes shimmering with anticipation, as I couldn't wait to see my groom. Could it be that he had shown me kindness time and again in our past lives? Whether it was giving me pork or sending me a large sum of money to support my business venture in the city, he always found ways to help. Back then, I thought it was because he loved my sister, and I was just part of the package. It turns out it had nothing to do with my sister. He had been loving me all along. Li Chao had such a graceful figure that she made the outdated red wedding dress look stunningly beautiful. From the moment she appeared before Li Gooden, his eyes never left her. Li Chao tilted her chin up slightly, like a charming magpie. The villagers around kept congratulating Li Gooden on winning the beauty's heart. She had never heard so many compliments in all her 18 years. It practically lifted her to the clouds. Unfortunately, all those praises shifted to me the moment I stepped out the door. In the 1990s, folks in the village hadn't seen much of the world. They only caught glimpses of life beyond their own through films shown during mobile cinema screenings in the countryside. The newlywed brides were absolutely green with envy. "Shower, is that a wedding dress you're wearing? Oh my goodness, it's absolutely stunning." Feng Yu really knows how to pamper his wife. He didn't hesitate to rent such an expensive wedding gown for her. Li Chao stood opposite, grinding her teeth in fury. She remembered wearing a red wedding dress in her past life too. How dare Li Tao get to wear a wedding gown? who does she think she is? Li Tao, you'd better take good care of it. If you damage it, Feng Yu will be so angry he might call off the engagement. Someone who heard her bitter remark couldn't resist sneering. Then why didn't your Li Gooden rent you a wedding dress? Couldn't afford it, or did he have to pay compensation to the woman whose modesty was compromised? You, Li Qiao flushed crimson with rage. I covered my mouth with a laugh. Feeling both delighted and clear-hearted, Li Qiao was grinding her molars in fury. What are you laughing at? If I hadn't rejected this marriage, do you think you'd even have a chance, sister-in-law? Who said I wanted to marry you? Just as I was about to retort to Li Qiao, a man's deep, melodious voice came from behind me. It was Feng Yu. The moment I turned around, I was completely mesmerized. I laughed. Feng Yu wore a white suit that perfectly complemented mine, making him look like a dashing gentleman straight out of a movie. The young married women around couldn't take their eyes off him, quietly lamenting why fate hadn't blessed them with such a catch. He gently placed his arm around my shoulder. Standing by my side against Li Qiao, tell me that person's name right now. I'll have someone slap his mouth. Choosing to pass up a pearl like you would make people think I'm a fool. Besides, my family isn't so poor that we need to rent a wedding dress. I bought this wedding dress myself. Even if Li Tao wants to use it as firewood, I'd be perfectly happy. When everyone heard the wedding dress was purchased, their eyes turned to me filled with envy and jealousy. How did Li Tao get so lucky? Marrying into the wealthy Feng family means she'll not only eat meat every meal, but even the dog she keeps for fun will eat better than Li Qiao's whole family. Li Qiao was absolutely fuming. She pretended to cover her nose with a look of disgust. I never said I'd marry you anyway. Who'd want a man who reeks of pigs? I tilted my head and took a sniff, but all I could smell was the light, fresh scent of soap. My sister-in-law even jumped in to call her out. Stop talking nonsense. My brother hired someone to take care of the pigs for days just to marry your sister. He was so afraid of smelling like pigs that he used up 3 bars of soap, worried she'd be disgusted by him. Li Qiao's face flushed, then paled, then darkened, then turned ashen. This can't be true. I shot her a challenging smile. Guess it all comes down to who marries whom. When someone's worth it, you worry about not doing enough. When they're not, they don't deserve to be cherished. Li Qiao was practically fuming with rage because of me. I linked arms with Feng Yu and accompanied him to toast the villagers. Finally, he glanced at Li Qiao chugging water from her cup, thinking to himself, this is just the beginning. The real show hasn't even started yet. Halfway through the banquet, everyone was thoroughly satisfied. Every dish features meat, each prepared in its own way, braised, steamed, stewed, or stir-fried, and each has its own distinct flavor, sweet, sour, spicy, or savory. The sheer extravagance of it all left me utterly speechless. I was terrified that Feng Yu would empty out his entire savings. His face flushed from drinking. He gazed at me with tender, longing eyes. As long as you're happy, it's all worth it. I giggled coyly. Oh, so only I get to be happy. You're not happy at all. He paused, then laughed again. No, I'm the happiest one here. Just as we took our seats, my mother's sharp-tongued scolding erupted from the doorway. My heart leapt with sudden hope as I glanced up. It was Widow Zhang, who'd been carrying on with Li Gooden. She was here. Widow Zhang gazed at Li Gooden with tear-filled eyes. Her look so heart-wrenching it shattered the man's heart to pieces. Clutching her belly, she dropped to her knees before her sister. I don't want to make Brother Gooden look bad either, but I can endure it. She spoke in a raised voice, as if afraid that everyone present might not hear her. But the baby in my belly can't wait any longer. The child in her womb was also on the way. Li Qiao pointed at Widow Zhang, then fainted from anger into my mother's arms. This embarrassing incident spread like wildfire. Within a month, even people from neighboring villages had heard about the groom getting the widow pregnant and causing a huge scene at the wedding. My mother, fearing the situation would escalate, secretly gave the gold bracelet meant for Li Qiao to Widow Zhang. She told her to go to a city hospital and get rid of the baby. When Li Qiao came to and heard what happened, no one knew what was going through her mind. She didn't argue with her mother, nor did she confront Li Gooden to demand an explanation. Like a dutiful traditional wife, she cooked meals at home and obediently waited for Li Gooden to return for dinner. After eating, she shouldered her hoe and went back to work in the fields. The aunties passing by found it quite astonishing. Has Li Qiao lost her mind after some trauma? Back when she was still a maiden in her own home, she wouldn't even lift a finger to wipe a table, always made Li Tao do it, and now, not only did she willingly marry someone like Li Gooden, but she's also content being a servant to others. Enough already. Li Qiao is just plain crazy. All she ever talks about is how Li Gooden is going to make it big someday. She's got her nose so high in the air now, She looks down on the rest of us. Li Qiaoer overheard their gossip but didn't get angry. She even lifted her chin proudly, like a goose strutting with its head held high. A few days later, I heard Li Qiaoer was going around trying to borrow money for Li Gooden to start a business in the city. Some people not only refused to lend her money but didn't even bother to be polite. Instead, mocking Li Qiaoer outright, Li Qiaoer crossed her arms and sneered, "What do any of you know? My Gooden is destined for great things. If you help our family now, we'll remember your kindness, but if you don't come crying to Gooden for money later. I won't even acknowledge you." Aunt Li spat in her face, cursing her bad luck. What great things could your Li Gooden possibly achieve? He'll probably just end up getting arrested in the city. Your eyes are caked with crap. And it seems to have infected your brain too. Get the hell out of here, before you corrupt my children too. With that, he picked up the basin of foot-washing water and splashed it all over Li Qiaoer. Not only did Li Qiaoer fail to borrow money, but she also ended up drenched like a drowned rat. She returned home utterly dejected, muttering the same phrase over and over again. A virtuous wife stands by her husband's lofty ambitions. He promises her riches in return. If I endure these hardships now, all the money Li Gooden earns in the future will be under my control. Early the next morning, my sister-in-law Feng Jiaojiao opened the door and saw my mother and Li Qiaoer standing outside. "What are you here for?" Li Qiaoer ignored Feng Jiaojiao and pulled my mother straight into my room. Feng Jiaojiao didn't manage to stop them. Li Qiaoer had already pulled open the curtain in the room, still shaken. I pulled the quilt up to my chest and shot her an annoyed glare. "Instead of staying at your own home first thing in the morning, what are you doing at my place? Did Widow Zhang take over your bed? Is that why you're here venting your frustration on me?" Li Qiaoer's expression froze. "What nonsense are you spouting? That bitch ran off with some other man long ago. Li Gooden was corrupted by her." I couldn't help but find it both ridiculous and absurd. A scumbag like Li Gooden hardly needed anyone to corrupt him. Li Qiaoer glanced around the room and noticed Feng Yu was absent, her gaze settling on me with a hint of pity. Sigh. "No wonder you ended up with a man who reeks of pigs. If I were married to Feng Yu, I wouldn't let him near the bed either." My mother sat by the bedside, holding my hand. "Your sister came today to help you. I heard your marriage to Feng Yu hasn't been going well, so I thought I'd help you find a better match." Their back-and-forth conversation completely confused me. My life is perfectly fine as it is. What exactly do I need help with? On our wedding night, Feng Yu turned off the lights. By the pale moonlight streaming through the window, as I removed the heavy wedding dress, I suddenly felt a warm flow beneath me. My face fell, and I quickly pushed Feng Yu away. Feng Yu mistakenly thought he had scared me. "I'm sorry. I don't have much experience. Did I hurt you?" I blushed and said, "What should I do? I think my period just started." Now it was Feng Yu's turn to blush. On our first night as a married couple, Feng Yu and I fell asleep in each other's arms, but neither of us slept well. The next day, when Feng Yu saw the dark circles under my eyes, he voluntarily took his bedding to sleep in the living room. I looked at the festively decorated courtyard and let out a helpless sigh. It seems I'll have to wait a bit longer before I can get my hands on Feng Yu. I gave Li Qiaoer a cold laugh. "Worry about your own Li Gooden before you come lecturing me. Everyone in this village knows exactly what kind of man your Li Gooden is." Li Qiaoer was about to scold me, but then remembered she needed to ask me for a favor. She swallowed her anger and put on a show of affection for her younger sister. "You're my own sister. Why would I ever do anything to harm you? Poor thing. After you marry Feng Yu, you'll have to put up with the stench of pigs every single day." I got dressed under the covers, then threw off the quilt that was covering me. Only then did Li Qiaoer and her mother notice I was wearing the silk pajamas from the movie. The sight of it made them both incredibly envious. Li Qiaoer couldn't resist touching the fabric. "Is this really the same outfit from the film?" I nodded. "Expensive clothes are worth every penny. They feel like you're wearing nothing at all." My mother let out a gasp of surprise, and as I followed the sound, I saw her holding a pack of sanitary pads in her hand. "What is this thing? I've never seen anything like it before." Li Qiaoer was someone who had been reborn into a new life. Naturally, she knew exactly what that thing was, a sanitary pad. In the early 1990s, no one in rural areas had access to sanitary pads. Women used cloth belts stuffed with cotton or plant ash instead. Li Qiaoer couldn't help but wonder to herself. When she married Feng Yu in her previous life, why didn't she get to wear a wedding dress or use proper sanitary products? Her period started around the same time as mine, and she was quietly trying to convince herself to endure the discomfort of using those primitive menstrual belts. As long as she sticks with Li Gooden and gets rich, she'll be dripping in gold and jewels just like I was in my past life. But she never expected that I'd end up living even more comfortably than her. Meanwhile, She's left dealing with all the mess that Li Gooden brings. Li Chao bit down hard on the soft flesh inside her mouth, her nails digging into her palms as if she couldn't feel the pain, before dragging her mother away in a frantic escape. She's got some brains, just not a whole lot. On her way out, she even took that pack of sanitary pads with her. Just as she stepped outside, she saw Feng Yu coming out of the kitchen. He was wearing a white shirt and black dress pants. Looking sharp and put together, Li Chao stared blankly, as if reminiscing about her past life when she married Feng Yu. Before dawn even broke, Feng Yu was nowhere to be seen. As night fell, he emerged from the pigsty looking unkempt. The stench of pigs on him made even the savory braised pork ribs in her bowl lose their appeal. Snapping out of her reverie, she glanced around the tidy courtyard and noticed a couple of rose bushes planted beside the house. Li Chao shot Feng Yu a look filled with both resentment and reproach. She resented him for failing to provide her with such a comfortable life. If he had been like this all along, why would she have ever gotten involved with that village rogue? Don't blame her for the affair. Feng Yu brought it upon himself. Feng Yu's smile faded the moment he saw Li Chao and my mother. After getting married, Feng Yu obediently handed over all pig farming duties to the hired hands. He became utterly devoted to his new wife. Terrified that his long-cherished darling might vanish like a puff of wind, he would get up multiple times at night, sneaking into the master bedroom just to gaze at his sleeping wife. Only then did he go back to bed, completely satisfied. Feng Yu, loving the crow for the sake of the nest, extended his courtesy to his wife's family as well, and politely asked, "Why not stay for a meal before you go?" My mother caught the rich, mouth-watering aroma of meat wafting through the air. The last time we had meat was at a wedding banquet, and just the thought made her unable to take another step. Oh, wonderful. I've never had the chance to taste my dear son-in-law's cooking before. Seeing that she couldn't persuade my mother to leave, Li Chao reluctantly agreed to stay for the meal. Just then, Feng Jiaojiao finished sweeping the fallen leaves in the yard, washed her hands, and went to serve the soft and sweet potato and corn porridge. Feng Yu brought the freshly cooked braised pork ribs and garlic sprout stir-fry to the table. The aroma was so rich it could wake the old yellow dog next door. Li Chao patted her empty stomach. Ever since marrying Li Gooden, she only got to eat a warm breakfast when visiting her parents' home. She downed 2 bowls of porridge in one go, swelling her belly like a balloon, before reluctantly setting down the bowl. Feng Yu was peeling shrimp for me at that moment. Li Chao was completely stunned. "Where did you get the shrimp?" Feng Jiaojiao still remembered how this woman had mocked her brother for smelling bad. She said sarcastically, "I told you my sister-in-law is living the good life with our family. See, since she's not feeling well, my brother specially went to the city to buy 2 pounds of shrimp and kept them in the tank. Whenever she wants some, we just scoop them out fresh." When my mother heard how blissful my life was, she tugged at Li Chao's sleeve and whispered with a sigh, "Seems like Li Tao won't listen to us and break up with Feng Yu." I popped the peeled shrimp into my mouth, chewing while giving Li Chao a sidelong glance, wondering what was going through her mind. Probably thinking about where her future billionaire husband was off to fool around this time. As she was leaving, Li Chao couldn't resist taking a final jab. "Don't think you married better than me. Just wait a few years, Li Gooden will make his fortune, and I'll be the wife of the richest man while you're still married to a pig farmer." My mom joined my sister in trying to convince me. "Your sisters, after all, if your brother-in-law does well, you'll benefit too. Give your sister 30,000 yuan so your brother-in-law can start a business in the city. If he makes money, he'll definitely remember your kindness." I crossed my arms and rolled my eyes. Yeah, right. Someone as successful as my brother-in-law would never need money from a pig farmer. I saw my sister part her lips to speak, so I kicked the door shut. A few days later, I sat on the curb with a bowl of fragrant roasted sunflower seeds, listening to the aunties' gossip. "Tower, your brother-in-law went to the city to do business. Why didn't you ask Feng Yu to go with him?" Aunt Li grabbed a handful of sunflower seeds from my basket. Facing the teasing glances from others, I kept a straight face and said, as my sister said, "My brother-in-law was born to be a businessman. Our little mountain village can't hold such a big shot. But since Feng Yu and I just got married, I won't be joining in on the excitement." Auntie Bai chimed in, "That's right. Feng Yu raised his younger sister all by himself. He's a fine young man. Even if Feng Yu doesn't go to the city to do business, he can still thrive right here in the village." Not long after, I saw my sister walking down the road with a hoe on her shoulder. Aunt Li called out to her, "Li Chao, why didn't you go to the city with your husband to do business?" Li Chao wiped the sweat from her brow, squinting her eyes that were stinging from the sun. "Business is a man's job. I'll just stay home and take care of things for him." After not seeing her for just a few days, I was taken aback by Li Qiao's appearance. Li Qiao's once fair skin had been weathered dark and rough by the sun, making her look years older. With parched wrinkles creeping from the corners of her eyes, Li Qiao's eyes met mine, and she resumed her haughty, superior demeanor. Just you wait and see, my Godan will surely have a better life than that pig farmer's family, Li Tao. I actually feel a bit sorry for you. When your brother-in-law gets back, if you get down on your knees and beg me, I might just ask him to give Feng Yu some grunt work. Auntie Bai was absolutely furious. You're the only one who treats that good-for-nothing Li Gooden like some kind of treasure. That Feng Yu kid, no matter how you look at him, is 1,000 times better than that useless Li Gooden. I stopped Auntie Bai. Don't stoop to her level. She married that good-for-nothing Li Gooden already, just cut her some slack. The middle-aged women nearby were laughing so hard at what I said they could barely stand straight. Li Qiao didn't get what she wanted here and left while muttering curses under her breath. Right after she left, it happened to be time for dinner. Auntie Bai caught a whiff of the savory aroma wafting from our house and swallowed hard. Peach, what delicious treat are you cooking up this time? Everyone else stared at me with eager, longing eyes. I bragged with a touch of pride, oh. It's nothing special. Just some golden pan-fried dumplings Jiao Jiao made. Feng Yu butchered a black pig this morning, so we stewed the freshest ribs with yellow potatoes from the garden and threw in some vermicelli noodles too. As everyone practically drooled with envy, I put on a sheepish expression and sighed, ah, but my sister would never want a simple life like mine. Halfway down the road, I ran into Widow Zhang, who was looking for someone to help load her belongings onto the ox cart. When she saw me, Widow Zhang tucked a stray lock of hair behind her ear. Looking a little embarrassed, I gave her a gentle smile, stepped forward, and took her hand. It's good that you're leaving. You should have done so a long time ago. In my past life, after I married Li Gooden, it turned out that Li Gooden had been coercing Widow Zhang into submitting to him. When I found Widow Zhang, she thought I was there to cause trouble for her. A helpless and isolated woman in this backstabbing mountain village, the men eyed her with ill intentions, while the women shot her jealous glares, but she never expected that I would give her half of my family's food supplies to help her out. I even advised her to leave this place. Widow Zhang took it to heart. When I finally settled in the city and started a wholesale clothing stall, only to have local thugs block the entrance and demand protection money, that's when I ran into Widow Zhang. Dressed in elegant attire, the moment those men spotted Widow Zhang, they scattered like rats fleeing from a cat, tails tucked between their legs. From her account, it turned out she was a child who had been kidnapped, and her biological parents held considerable influence in the city. They never gave up searching for her all these years. As a woman running a business in the city, I would have been devoured by the locals if it weren't for Widow Zhang's help. Widow Zhang didn't let Li Gooden get away with bullying her either. She got our divorce papers processed and then called the police, landing Li Gooden in prison for several years. During those years, Li Gooden was severely mistreated by inmates arranged to target him. When he got out, he looked decades older. Widow Zhang finally let go of her anger, releasing both him and herself from the bitterness. Just dump him in the countryside and let him fend for himself. But I never expected Li Gooden to brag about how much money he made in the city. He talked my life right into my sister's hands. On the day I was reborn, the first thing I did was track down Widow Zhang. In a roundabout way, I asked her to do me a favor and stir up some trouble at the wedding. I also suggested she move to the city where her biological parents live. Perhaps fate would intervene, allowing her to meet them sooner than expected. Widow Zhang's eyes welled up with tears. Thank you, dear. If it weren't for your clever plan, I'd never have escaped that monster. As she spoke, she pulled out a piece of red cloth from her pocket. Unfolding it, she revealed a pair of gold bracelets nestled inside. These gold bracelets aren't mine. I should return them to you. I quickly covered her hand with mine, glanced around to make sure no one was watching, and only then let out a sigh of relief. Sis, you're going to the city. Don't you need money? Consider this gold bracelet my gift to you. Widow Zhang looked at me in disbelief. I can't possibly accept this. It's far too valuable. If it weren't for your idea to fake a pregnancy and stir up trouble, I wouldn't have gotten this bracelet in the first place. I waved my hand dismissively, as if it were no big deal. In my past life, I was so wealthy that I needed a small house just to store all the luxury items I bought, having long grown accustomed to opulence. This gold bracelet means far less to me than Widow Zhang's future. Widow Zhang carefully took back the bracelet, her tears seemingly endless as she looked at me with profound gratitude. My dear, I don't even know how I can ever repay you for this kindness. We'll meet again someday. If you ever need help, I'll give you everything I've got. At night, I sat in the courtyard, enjoying the gentle spring breeze, quietly waiting for an opportunity. Feng Yu had just stepped out of the shower, drying his damp hair with a towel in one hand, as I walked over with a smile. His back immediately straightened up. I took the towel from his hand, stood on tiptoe, and helped him dry his hair. We were so close that our heated breaths intertwined. Feng Yu could no longer hold back, pulling me tightly into his embrace and burying his face in the crook of my neck to take a deep breath. His raw masculine energy left me weak in the knees. I tugged lightly at his belt and whispered, barely audible, "Can I stay with you tonight?" Feng Yu's eyes darkened at my words, and he swept me off my feet, carrying me into the room. Startled, I clung tightly to his neck, meeting his amused gaze. I shyly buried my face in his firm chest. In the deep night, the spring breeze sweeps across the crimson rivers, while birds chirp restlessly. The mountain wind carries a witch's chant, as the rising sun casts its glow over the peaks. After our passionate encounter, I lay dazed in Feng Yu's embrace. I let him tend to the aftermath with a warm towel, with a trembling hand. I reached up to trace the contours of his face. Feng Yu gently kissed my palm with a tender touch. Then, he held me close and drifted into a deep sleep. We had sweet dreams all night. A month later, my sister brought my mother over to visit me at home. Feng Jiaojia didn't want to let this mother and daughter into the house, but out of respect for me, she reluctantly opened the door and let them in. My mother pulled me to sit down and snapped at Feng Jiaojia to fetch her some water. Feng Jiaojia shot her a dirty look before turning and walking into the room. My mother curled her lip and said, "Look at your sister-in-law. Your brother-in-law made a fortune in the city and wanted to introduce her to one of his partners. With that attitude of hers, I don't even want to make the introduction anymore." My face darkened, and I felt both confused and annoyed. From what my mother told me, Li Gooden went to the city with some fellow villagers to do business and ended up befriending a highly capable big shot. They went into business together and quickly made 2 to 3 times their initial investment. I was puzzled at first, until my mother mentioned the big shot's name, Duan Jinghe. My heart skipped a beat. In my previous life, it was precisely because Li Gooden met Duan Jinghe. The two of them got together to engage in shady business, made a fortune for a few days, but were eventually rounded up by Widow Zhang's brother. In this lifetime, urged by his sister, Li Gooden befriended Duan Jinghe ahead of time. It's just unclear whether Widow Zhang has reunited with her family, or if Li Gooden is doomed to repeat his past fate. I took a calm sip of tea, deciding not to tell them about this matter. Li Chao looked at me triumphantly. "Tower, you must be green with envy deep down, aren't you? What a pity though. I'm more fortunate than you." I could tell at first sight that Li Gooden was destined to make big money. "Unlike you marrying a butcher, your descendants will all end up as butchers too." I set down my teacup and lifted my eyes to look at my sister. "Now that your husband has made a fortune in the city, why hasn't he come to take you away?" Li Chao's smile froze on her face. I sneered coldly. "True, the city offers more job opportunities, and more chances for affairs. Do you really think you can win your brother-in-law's heart?" I could tell Li Chao was starting to waver. The fellow villager who ran a business with Li Gooden has returned, drunk in the middle of the night. He lay in his wife's arms and casually called out another woman's name. His wife instantly flew into a rage, convinced he was seeing someone else. The two of them turned the entire household upside down. She would often confide in her village friend, crying, "On the first night my husband came back, I tried to be intimate with him, but he wasn't interested. I thought he was just tired from the journey and didn't think much of it. Little did I know he'd already spent his energy elsewhere and had nothing left for me." Later, he started trying all sorts of new moves in bed, clearly learned from some shameless little seductress. Others comforted her, saying, "Men are like that, they behave when they're broke, but once they have money, they turn rotten." Li Chao sat there listening, her heart racing with anxiety. Though she had no feelings for Li Gooden, she couldn't stand the thought of another woman reaping the rewards. She was the one who stood by Li Gooden through the toughest times. She deserved to be adorned in gold and silver, showered with his affection. What have those other women ever done? They have no right to enjoy the fruits of her labor. A few days later, as I passed by their doorstep, I saw my mother pressing her life savings into my sister's hands. It was the last of her money. "Don't skimp on yourself during the journey to the city. Buy whatever you need. If you're comfortable, I'll be happy." My sister didn't hesitate, stuffing the large bundle of money wrapped in red cloth into her pocket. She replied indifferently, "All right, once I'm settled in the city, I'll come get you." Her eyes lit up the moment she heard those words. "I always knew you were the most filial and sensible of my 2 daughters. Your sister is so ungrateful. She wouldn't even use Feng Yu's money to help your Godan start a business. What a waste raising her." They chatted for quite a while, completely unaware that I had been standing there the whole time. Luckily, they didn't notice me, so I got to hear just how shamelessly Mom plays favorites. I turned and walked away silently, sneering to myself. Since my sister is the perfect daughter, I'll leave it to her to take care of Mom in her old age. After spending enough time cozying up with Fonyu at home, I finally started getting my business off the ground. I convinced Fonyu to leave the family's pigs in the care of the hired manager and take our savings to start a business in the city. When my mother heard about this, she came to our doorstep just to yell at us. Do you really think the city rains gold coins? Just because my son-in-law made a fortune there, now every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants a piece of the pie. They don't even stop to consider whether they've got what it takes. Don't come crying to my son-in-law for money when you've squandered yours. Feng Jiajiao was doing homework in the yard and, upon hearing my mother's words, didn't say a word. She just picked up a basin of muddy water and flung it right at my mother, soaked in filthy water. My mother stood hands on hips and cursed even more viciously. I cracked open my eyes to see Fonyu, who silently picked up the sickle from our home. When he opened the door and stood before my mother let out a terrified scream and fled in a panic. I had everything at home sorted out and in order. Fonyu, being a businessman himself, recognized my knack for business and even broke open his piggy bank that he'd been saving in for over a decade. I teased him. Aren't you afraid I'll lose all this money? Fonyu laughed along with me and said, money can always be earned again. If it makes you happy, it's worth every penny. As he spoke, he took my hand, his eyes filled with tender affection. Besides, the woman I've set my heart on is bound to excel at everything she does. Jiao got goosebumps from Fengyu's unsettling words. I never expected my usually stoic brother to say something so spine-chilling. I gripped Fengyu's hand with a bit of force. A devoted husband supports my lofty ambitions, and I repay him with boundless gratitude. With Fengyu's entire fortune backing me for life, I leased 2 prime storefront units at the city's largest wholesale market. Nowadays, urban dwellers have moved beyond basic sustenance and, fueled by Hong Kong cinema and TV influences, are going all out on personal grooming. 1 unit serves as storage, the other as a wholesale showroom. Fengyu gave me 100,000 in startup capital, with a few thousand set aside for rent. I renovated the storefront, found a factory with solid craftsmanship, and based on memories from my past life, submitted clothing designs to the factory owner, Mr. Wang, a seasoned veteran in the industry with a keen eye, analyzed my designs and immediately spotted that several pieces were identical to the outfits worn by the female lead in a popular Hong Kong drama. He knew these clothes would be a huge hit once they hit the market. He promptly called in the factory's craftsmen to produce a few sample pieces based on the designs. If there's no model, I'll step in. When I stood before Fengyu in that floral red dress, Fengyu's face flushed so deeply he couldn't even look up. The boss even pulled out a camera, snapped several shots of me, and said he'd print them for the clothing line's promotion. I had some extra cash on hand. Just as the wave of college graduations hit, some good-looking art students came to my store for part-time work. I had them model the store's hottest items, turning them into living mannequins. Clothing store owners here to restock immediately took a liking to the outfits the girls were wearing, while other stall owners sat by their doors complaining about no business. I had already hired 3 packing staff in my shop, with goods being shipped out truckload after truckload. In less than half a year, my clothing became famously popular throughout the entire city, earning me millions in cash profits. I wasn't content with just doing wholesale business. I wanted to build my own brand. The money hardly had time to warm my hands before I turned around and spent it. Rented storefronts in several of the busiest shopping malls. Feng Jiajiao also moved to the city to continue her studies. When she asked me what name to choose, after a moment's thought, the 2 words rebirth came to me instantly. A year later, during an inspection at the flagship store, I happened to witness a commotion. Up close, I saw a woman decked out in designer labels, arrogantly demanding that a server kneel to put her shoes on. A crowd had gathered to watch the spectacle, their stares weighing down the young employee until her back was hunched. The woman pulled a wad of cash from her bag and flung it at the girl's face, sneering, "Isn't treating customers like God's part of your job? Is this money enough to make you call me mom?" The girl's shoulders trembled, as if she was holding back sobs. The manager stepped forward to pick up the money, forcing a smile. "My apologies, miss, it was our oversight." Turning around, he glared at the girl with a vicious expression. "What are you standing there for? Either do your job or get out. Our shop pays the highest wages in this city. If you don't want the job, There are plenty of people lining up to take your place. The girl's paper-thin frame gave a slight tremble. Perhaps fearing to lose the job, she bit her lip, crouched down, and reached out to remove the woman's shoes. Just 1 centimeter away, a pale, slender hand caught hers. The young girl froze for a moment. Then followed the hand upward to see a face that was both strange and familiar, exquisitely beautiful and finely featured. I helped her up from the ground and gently wiped the tears from her cheeks. Recognizing who I was, the manager hurried over to explain the situation. "Boss, I'm really sorry. The new employee refuses to follow instructions. She won't do anything we ask." The girl burst into tears and cried out, "I came here to work, not to be a servant. You ask me to buy you coffee during my meal break, and when difficult customers show up, you push them onto me because you can't be bothered to deal with them yourself. I'm a human being too. Why do you have to trample all over my dignity like this?" The manager sneered. "You're in the workforce now. What use is dignity? If you cause any losses to this store, you'll be working 10 years just to pay it back." The young girl was crying so hard she nearly passed out. The manager said to me with a hint of resignation, "Young girls these days are so temperamental. Don't worry, I'll make sure this gets handled properly." I glanced at my wristwatch and said, "You have 10 minutes to print out a resignation form, fill in your name, and bring it to me." The young girl's face turned pale. The manager snapped sharply, "Hurry up. Don't you know how valuable our general manager's time is?" Just as the young girl covered her face and was about to leave, I stopped her. Facing the shop manager's aggressive remarks, I shot her a cold glare. "Our shop is a place for people to work, not to be treated like servants. I have serious concerns about your work ethic. If you don't resign, I'll have HR initiate termination procedures." The store manager stared at me in disbelief. "Boss, are you serious? I genuinely have the company's best interests at heart. People are individuals first, employees second. Even the best store won't last long if it doesn't treat its staff like family." I handed the young woman a pack of tissues. "Other companies treat their employees like dogs, but that kind of behavior is not allowed here. If employees are filled with resentment all day, how can they possibly present their best selves to customers? No matter what role you're in, mutual respect is what matters most. No one is inherently superior to anyone else." After I finished speaking, the tears in the young woman's eyes had now welled up in the manager's. The store manager begged me not to fire her. She even tried to gain sympathy by mentioning her child at home who's crying out for food. I frowned and asked her, "When your child graduates and starts working, would you want them to have a boss like you?" The store manager's lips trembled, and she fell silent. "No parent would want their child to suffer such unfair treatment, Li Tao." A voice, both uncertain and surprised, rang out. As I sized up the female customer who was giving the staff a hard time, I realized the face with obvious plastic surgery was Li Chao. Li Chao raised her chin sharply enough to poke someone, unable to believe I was the owner of Reborn. Reborn offers trendy clothing styles, available in high, medium, and low price tiers. Even celebrities in the fashion scene wear Reborn's clothes as everyday attire. Ordinary folks and students also shop at Reborn, where quality matches the price, no overcharging, and a t-shirt can last 4 to 5 years. My gaze drifted back to her chest, which seemed ready to burst through her clothes, and I couldn't help but wonder how much she'd spent on her entire appearance. "No way, you're the boss of Rebirth." I gave her a smile and said, "That's right." Li Chao caught the hidden meaning behind the word rebirth, and her eyes held a hint of murderous intent as she looked at me. After all, she knew she had killed me. I will definitely get my revenge on her. "You don't actually think opening a women's clothing store puts you in the same league as my husband, do you?" I shrugged. "I'm no match for your husband. As someone who runs a legitimate business, how could I possibly compare?" "Alright," Li Chao cut me off immediately. "Let's catch up properly another day. I heard from a friend that this store had beautiful clothes, but now that I see them, they're downright tacky." With that, Li Chao tossed the remark over her shoulder and sashayed away with her impossibly slender waist. I stood there watching Li Chao's receding figure. Wonder when Sister Zhang's brother plans to round up Li Gooden and his gang in one fell swoop. Duan Jinghe runs a compound in Southeast Asia that specifically targets naive college students, luring them with promises of free accommodation, travel expenses, and high salaries. They're confined to the compound and forced to scam elderly people in China through phone calls. This shady business benefits themselves at the expense of others. In his previous life, Li Gooden only managed to reach a mid-level position. Due to his cooperative attitude and full disclosure of everything he knew, he was imprisoned for a few years. This time, I learned about it from Sister Zhang. Li Chao is even more ruthless than Li Gooden. having directly climbed to the position of second-in-command. If sufficient evidence is obtained, both Li Qiaoer and Li Guden will be sentenced to death. Several more years passed, and Li Qiaoer often brought ladies from her social circle to cause trouble at the shop. The once frail young girl had taken up boxing. Facing the group of troublemaking women, she flexed her muscles and shot them a murderous glare. Li Qiaoer and her friends were so terrified they fled in panic. After all, if the prosthetic gets knocked out, it'll cost a fortune to fix. Back in 2004, Feng Yu dropped his daughter off at kindergarten and came back with some exciting news. The undercover sent by Sister Zhang's brother gathered enough evidence, and the higher-ups ordered a full-scale raid on the compound. Li Qiaoer was in the middle of her 10th nose job surgery when she was arrested. Her face was still wrapped in bandages that concealed her features when she was sentenced to death in court. That evening, I took my family to dine at the finest imperial private kitchen in the capital, in memory of Li Tao, who was murdered. After hearing about Li Qiaoer's death sentence from our hometown, my mother came to the city and caused a scene at the shop. Despite his muscular build, Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't bring himself to evict the frail, trembling old woman. Left with no choice, he called me to come over and remove her. By the time I arrived, I found my mother sitting on the floor. Her hair turned white overnight, weeping bitterly and slapping her thighs in despair. My daughter is so unfilial, her own sister is in trouble, and she won't lift a finger to help. She's become a big shot now, spending millions every day, yet she's too stingy to save her sister's life. The onlookers mistakenly thought Li Qiaoer had cancer, and believed I was neglecting her, partying every night while refusing to pay for her treatment. And to think I used to love buying clothes from this brand. Ugh, I'm never shopping here again. Quick, record this and post it online. Rebirth is so popular and makes so much money, yet they won't even help their own family. I'm going to expose this to everyone online and organize a boycott. Zhang Xiaoxiao saw me approaching and grew concerned that the crowd might mistakenly turn on me. I walked up to my mother just as she was about to slap me across the face. I caught her hand and demanded loudly, "What has Li Qiaoer done? Don't tell me you're unaware. She set up a compound overseas to run telecom scams. How exactly am I supposed to save her from that?" Now, everyone present had heard the truth of the matter. Everyone was stunned. Some victims of telecom fraud started lashing out at my mom, so they were running a telecom scam, got thrown in jail. That's the best news ever. Telecom scammers deserve to die. My mom was scammed out of over 100,000, couldn't repay her loans, and took her own life to avoid burdening us siblings. My mother only cares about her precious daughter, treating other people's lives as worthless. So what? That just shows your sister has skills. Why don't you get plastic surgery to look like your sister and take her place in jail? I found it both absurd and ridiculous. She's been sentenced to death. I'm a decent person who donates to charity every year. Why should I trade my life for someone who's committed heinous crimes? My mother was left speechless by my retort, and all she could think to do was slap me, as if to knock some sense into me, so she could go save her daughter. I left her right where she was, no matter how much she might tarnish the brand's reputation. After all, I've explained everything I needed to. Even if this blows up, I won't be the one taking the heat. Feng Yu stood waiting for me at the mall entrance, camera in hand. Years had passed, and he'd shed his youthful awkwardness. Now, with gold-rimmed glasses, he looked both refined and strikingly aloof. I recorded that whole scene just now. Let's post it online. It's perfect for promoting the brand. I took the camera and carefully checked to see if it had captured my double chin. You did a good job with the photo. Feng Yu leaned in close and whispered, "So, does wifey have any reward for me?" I reached up, grabbed his collar, and we tumbled into the car together. "Come here, I've got a reward for you." A decade later, our daughter got accepted into the best high school in town. Just as we were discussing where to celebrate, we got a call from back home. The next day, we drove back to our hometown to arrange mother's funeral. I heard that when she died, there wasn't a single person at home. Everyone knew about the awful things Li Qiaoer had done, so no one bothered with her. It wasn't until she had breathed her last in agony, her corpse turning foul and sour, that someone finally called the police. I spent a fair amount of money to turn the old family house into a columbarium, complete with Wi-Fi and a television. The urn was placed facing the television, which played a looped recording of my sister's death sentence announcement. I leaned against Feng Yu's chest, my eyes red and swollen from crying. My mother adored my sister so much. Now, even in death, she can watch every day what became of her. Feng Yu gently wiped the tears from the corner of my eye with his thumb and praised me sincerely. "I knew I wasn't wrong about you, Tower. You truly have a heart of gold." My daughter was insisting on leaving, saying her friends were waiting for her to treat them to a meal. I only have one daughter. Some people have suggested I have another child, a little sister or brother for my daughter, saying that the burden is heavy for an only child. And two can share the load, but the money I've made is enough for several generations to live lavishly. What pressure could my daughter possibly have? Another person would just divide the love and wealth I have for my daughter. Having just one child is perfect. As I left, I turned back for one last look at the courtyard that held 18 years of my life. Under the osmanthus tree, I seemed to see my older sister as a child, scooping a handful of mud into a leaf and handing it to me. Here. This is your meal. I held the mud in my hands and pretended to eat it with relish. My sister is so good to me. It's delicious. In the blink of an eye, I saw mother and sister deep in discussion again. Feng Yu's family is so wealthy. I simply must marry him. As for Li Tao, let's just marry her off to Li Gooden. After all, she always does whatever you say. She won't refuse. I closed my eyes and let out a heavy sigh. Years of living side by side turned two blood-related souls into bitter enemies who seethe at the sight of each other. Should I resent the wasted years, or blame the fickleness of human hearts? But from now on, I will let happiness heal these wounds. And my sister and mother got the punishment they deserved. Even in hell, there will be judgment awaiting their sins and retribution. Story 2. I'd been secretly dating my brother's best friend for 5 years. Planning to go public on New Year's Eve. At the party, he never mentioned it. Instead, he whispered in my ear with a half-joking tone, "I'm bored of sleeping with you. Why don't you marry someone else?" Okay, I nodded calmly and said, "Fine." In my past life, I begged him in tears, swearing I'd marry no one else. After I married him as wished, he turned cold and detached, even keeping his eyes shut during intimacy. He abandoned me during life-threatening childbirth hemorrhage to celebrate his white moonlight at Disneyland. That was the moment of truth. Love begged for his doom to fade, given a second chance at life. I smiled and agreed. I'm done too. Let's break up. The moment those words left my lips, Su Jianyan froze, thinking he must have misheard. How come I, who usually fly off the handle at the slightest provocation, suddenly became so docile? He dropped the playful tone and looked at me earnestly. "Nian Nian, do you know what I was just saying?" A faint, carefree smile still lingered on my face. "I know. Didn't you tell me to find someone else?" In my past life, if he'd said even the slightest thing to upset me, I'd have clawed at him like a frenzied cat until he apologized. But this time, I chose to let him have his way, and set myself free. Su Jianyan frowned. "Junyan, what's wrong with you today?" Before Su could finish speaking, the sound of shattering glass came from the next table. Then, a figure in white fled through the door in tears. The commotion drew sideways glances from nearby diners. My brother Zhu Yan nudged Su Jianyan with his elbow. "Isn't that your ex smashing glasses? Did you invite her here today? Breaking things during New Year's is bad luck. This wouldn't happen to be because of you, would it?" Su Jianyan's delicate brows furrowed deeper as he stood up and strode toward the door. Soon, the sobbing outside the door faded into lovers' whispers. Dishes kept arriving, but I mechanically picked at the food in my bowl. I used to serve Su Jianyan a portion from each new dish into his small bowl. It became my habit since we met. He often excused himself mid-meal for work calls. Every time my brother sees me doting on Su Jianyan, he gets all jealous. "Wow, serving dishes to Su Jianyan again. You never pamper me like that. I've noticed it for a while. You've got a thing for that Su Jianyan guy, don't you?" Several times, I almost blurted out the truth. But Su Jianyan immediately distanced himself from me, ruffled my hair like an older brother would, and laughingly called me his sworn sister. I understood what he meant. He didn't want to make our relationship public. For 5 whole years, he never posted anything about me on his social media, not even something visible only to me. He seems determined to erase every trace of our love. Yet it's precisely because I'm hopelessly in love that I keep hiding in the shadows, time and again. Watching me eat quietly, my brother teased, "Why not go check on your beloved Jianyan, unless you want some other girl to steal him away?" My chopsticks hovered midair for a beat. Him running off with some other girl, what's that to me? As his sworn sister, I shouldn't be bothering them now. My brother studied my face intently, searching for something. Today was Su Jianyan's birthday. We'd planned to make our relationship official today. But I never expected him to invite his first love Song Tao. Just then, Su Jianyan and Song Tao returned. Song Tao's eyes were red, clearly having just cried. Su Jianyan held her hand, gently comforting her from time to time. My brother whistled at the sight. "Su Jianyan, Song Tao, are you two back together?" The moment those words were spoken, Su Jianyan's head snapped up to look at me, a flicker of panic flashing in his eyes. What nonsense. We've been classmates for years, what's wrong with showing some concern? My shameless brother butted in. I'm your old classmate too, how about showing me some care? Su Jianyan laughed while shoving him away. Get lost. Seeing Song Tao clinging to him like a delicate bird, I pulled my brother aside. Big bro, stop interrupting second brother and sister Song Tao's private time, go grab dinner already. I turned to Su Jianyan with a playful grin. Am I right, second brother? The address made Su Jianyan pause momentarily. He gave me an inscrutable look before silently escorting Song Tao out. The moment they left the table, the gossip started swirling. Told you first loves hit different. Did you see how they interacted tonight? They're totally getting back together. No kidding. Remember when Song Tao needed that kidney transplant? Su Jianyan didn't hesitate, gave her his own kidney while still recovering, then rushed to her bedside. Man literally gave her half his life. Now that Song Tao's back in the country, these two won't be separated again. Hearing these words, my heart ached so badly I could barely breathe. So their fates had been intertwined all along. Only I was foolish enough to maintain this shameful relationship with him. In my past life, everything changed drastically after I married Su Jianyan. He stopped touching me altogether. We slept in separate rooms, even used different chopsticks at meals. Only when his parents pressured us for a child did he reluctantly hold me to get it over with. That night, he insisted on turning off the lights and kept his eyes shut the whole time, as if enduring utter humiliation. The very next day, he spent the night at Song Tao's place and didn't come home till morning. One winter, I came down with the flu and lay bedridden with no strength left in me. When I begged him to take me to the hospital, he brushed me off impatiently, claiming overtime work. Turned out he was accompanying Song Tao for a manicure, where staff gushed about what a loving couple they made. During labor, I bled all over the floor at home and called him through tears. He finally snapped, "It's just giving birth, not a death sentence. What's with all the tears? Take a cab to the hospital yourself. I'm busy, nothing else to discuss." He hung up before I could finish speaking. When I called back, his phone was switched off. Yet Song Tao's social media was flooded with 8 consecutive posts showing Su Jianyan celebrating her birthday at Disneyland. Every photo grid had their passionate kiss perfectly centered. That was the moment all my will to live drained away. Su Jianyan, if you don't love me, what's the point of keeping this child? I severed all means of survival, flung my phone out the window, and watched helplessly as blood pooled around me. Even as I bled to death, Su Jianyan still thought I was putting on an act. With the guest of honor Su Jianyan absent, the birthday party quickly dissolved into scattered conversations. Listless, I left right after dinner. Su Jianyan, who usually texts me every 3 minutes, was uncharacteristically quiet tonight. The sound of New Year firecrackers drifted through the window, yet I felt none of the holiday cheer. At midnight, a firework lit up the window. Su Jianyan, who rarely posts on social media, suddenly updated his feed. In the photo, Song Tao was peacefully asleep on his shoulder, looking serene and sweet. The caption was just one word, her. Just 1 minute after posting on Moments, the comments section exploded with activity. Wishing you forever. Congratulations on your wedding. May you have a lifetime of happiness together. I casually hit like, but the post disappeared when I refreshed my feed. The next second, Song Tao sent me a message. Jianyan walked me home, and I accidentally fell asleep on his shoulder. It was too late to let him go back alone, so I had him stay overnight at my place. You don't mind, do you? I just gave a faint ahm in response. From now on, whatever Su Jianyan does or whoever he's with, it's none of my business. Just as I was about to sleep, Su Jianyan texted me too. What? Are they already this in sync now? Song Tao just got back to the country and didn't buy new clothes for the holidays. Don't you have a few unworn pieces? Let her borrow some tomorrow. The mall is closed. I'm afraid we won't make it in time to buy anything. Reading this message sent my already gloomy mood plummeting to rock bottom. I haven't even worn the new clothes I bought for myself yet, and now I have to give them to the person he loves most. What's he to me anyway? In a fit of pique, I ignored the message and powered off my phone. To my surprise, Su Jianyan showed up at my doorstep with Song Tao first thing the next morning. At 10 o'clock sharp, the doorbell rang. Su Jianyan had arrived. My brother rushed to open the door and found Su Jianyan and Song Tao standing outside with arms full of gifts. Everyone except me welcomed them warmly. Su Jianyan lost his parents as a child and was raised by his grandmother, being our neighbor. My parents had long treated him like their own son. Su Jianyan gave me a lingering look as he stepped inside. My mom smiled at Song Tao and said, "So you must be Su Jianyan's girlfriend." haven't seen you in years, you become even more beautiful. Thank you, Auntie, you haven't aged a bit, still as youthful as ever. Song Tao really knew how to work her charm. With just a few words, she had my parents grinning from ear to ear. Junyan, what's taking you so long in your room? Come greet your brother Jianian and sister Song Tao already. I dutifully poured tea for Su Jianian and Song Tao, saying respectfully, Happy New Year, second brother, Song Tao. Su Jianian gave me an even stranger look. Just as I was using the restroom, he suddenly sent me a message. What are you sulking about? I left him on read. There was a little seating dispute during lunch. I sat at my usual spot, but Su Jianian silently took the seat next to me. That's my brother's seat. My brother stared wide-eyed as Su Jianian took his seat, then glanced at the empty spot next to Song Tao. Dude, why'd you steal my seat? Go sit next to your girlfriend already. With that, he pulled Su Jianian up. After some playful bickering, Su Jianian ended up sitting across from me. The moment he sat down, I felt like sitting on pins and needles. He fixed me with an intense gaze. I averted my eyes and began eating in silence. Midway through the meal, he stepped away to take another call. Staring at the empty bowl in front of him, I swallowed my food and chose to ignore it. When he returned, he deliberately glanced at the bowl before looking at me. My brother noticed and quickly came to my defense. We're family. No one's fighting you for food. Stop giving Junyan a hard time. Just then, my mother glanced between Su Jianian and me with knowing eyes. She suddenly called me out at the dinner table. Junyan, look. Even your cousin Jianian brought his girlfriend home this year. When are you planning to bring a boyfriend home for us to meet? Su Jianian opened his mouth as if wanting to say something. I cut him off. If mom, dad, or my brothers know anyone suitable, feel free to set me up. I used to flat out reject these kinds of suggestions. Seeing my change of heart moved my brother to tears. He gave my shoulder a hearty pat and exclaimed, Nian, you've finally come to your senses. Just say the word, and I'll set you up with some handsome guys right after dinner. I laughed and agreed, but my gaze inadvertently drifted towards Su Jianian. His lips were pressed into a thin line, his expression darkening noticeably. Amid the laughter, he suddenly cut in, Auntie, don't joke about that. Song Tao is just an old classmate of mine. My mother froze momentarily, and Song Tao's smiling face instantly stiffened. My brother, ever the instigator, chimed in, so you're still single. How about we set you up with Nian then? At those words, my already flustered heart clenched to its breaking point. He immediately nudged my brother and said, Cut it out. Nian's my sister. My anxious heart finally gave out, completely and utterly gone. I took a deep breath and mustered every ounce of strength to force a natural smile. Come on bro, don't talk nonsense. Su Jianian is my second brother. After dinner, Su Jianian left with Song Tao, and we didn't contact each other for the next few days. I just carried on with my normal life eating, drinking, and actively attending any class reunions. On the evening of the 5th day of the new year, my brother had a class reunion. Seeing I had no plans, he insisted on dragging me along. I went to bed early, adamantly refusing to go, but he said, Tonight's a pivotal moment in your second brother's life. As his sister, you must witness it. Only upon arriving at the gathering did I realize, Song Tao plans to ask Su Jianian to get back together at tonight's gathering. According to them, since Song Tao returned home, their relationship has visibly heated up quickly, with high chances of reconciliation. A classmate who works at a jewelry store said Su Jianian went to their shop to pick out a ring the day before yesterday. It's almost certainly for Song Tao. I knew most of my brother's classmates, and many greeted me when I arrived. They complimented how much prettier I'd become, jokingly telling me to pick any single guy there. Laughing, I joined in their playful banter. Su Jianian watched silently from a distance without saying a word. Before dinner started, Song Tao pulled me aside. Junyan, I know Jianian treats you really well. He always listens to whatever you say, so later when I confess my feelings, could you put in a good word for me? That way we'll have a better shot at getting back together. Song Tao appears gentle on the surface, but her heart is filled with malice. She knew I had feelings for Su Jianian, but since he refused to make it public, I had no choice but to suffer in silence. She's deliberately exploiting my love for Su Jianian as a weakness to torment me relentlessly, but what Song Tao doesn't know is that after my past life experience, I'm completely over him. I flashed an even brighter smile than hers and said, All right. Don't you worry, I'll definitely help you two out. Song Tao pouted and headed back to the private room. At the dinner table, Su Jianian, for some inexplicable reason, started piling food onto my plate. just like I used to do for him. Just as the waiter brought a fresh pot of clay pot chicken, he picked up a piece and placed it in my bowl. I raised my hand to block the bowl, smiling. Second brother, I'm grown up now. I can serve myself. You should give some to Sister Song Tao instead. The piece of chicken hung awkwardly in midair until Song Tao noticed and caught it with her bowl. Jianian, maybe Nian already has her eye on someone here. Stop meddling. As they spoke, classmates began rising one by one to toast Song Tao's return from abroad. Just as Song Tao reached for her wine glass, Su Jianian snatched it away. Peach gets tipsy from just a sip. Let me take this drink for her. With those words, he threw his head back and downed it in one go. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. Su Jianian kept going, drink after drink. A blush began creeping across her face. Song Tao reached out to stop him, her voice dripping with tenderness. Jianian, you don't have to drink so much for me. It was hard to tell whether Su Jianian was truly drunk. He gazed at Song Tao with gentle affection. Don't worry, I know you can't handle alcohol. They're clearly taking advantage of you. The room erupted in murmurs at those words. I knew it. Su Jianian's defining moment had arrived. Song Tao flushed crimson, her rosebud lips parting as she whispered, Jianian, after all these years, I still can't forget you. Let's get back together. Okay, say yes, say yes. The crowd began chanting. Su Jianian paused, seemingly caught off guard by how the situation was unfolding. The atmosphere was perfectly set. The heroine had bravely confessed her love, now only waiting for the hero's nod of approval. A love story that captivates the world, a match made in heaven, is about to unfold. Watching the couple under the spotlight, I clapped and cheered. A girl as devoted and gorgeous as Sister Song Tao is one in a million. How can you still hesitate, second brother? Yet Su Jianian stared at me in utter disbelief. Junyan, what the hell's gotten into you? Aren't you my girlfriend? What nonsense are you spouting? The room fell dead silent the moment those words were spoken. My brother was the first to snap out of it, looking utterly shocked as his gaze darted between Su Jianian and me. Nianer, what did he just call you? Girlfriend? I smiled calmly. Bro, can't you see second brother's drunk? Just fooling around. Su Jianian seemed pissed as he pushed Song Tao aside and strode toward me. I took a step back just as the sound of shattering glass erupted behind me. When Su Jianian turned to look, he rushed over in alarm. A bleeding gash from broken glass marred Song Tao's calf. The stark contrast between her pale skin and crimson blood was horrifying to behold. Xu Jian's brows knitted instantly with heartache. He swept Song Tao right off her feet in one swift motion, but Song Tao shot me a sidelong glance before clinging to Xu Jian's neck with puppy dog eyes. Brother Jian, everyone's watching. Put me down this instant. Otherwise people might get the wrong idea about us. Nian Nian seems upset. Aren't you going to check on her? Song Tao's voice carried just enough to reach my ears. She said it deliberately, aiming to make Su Jianian publicly acknowledge his relationship with Song Tao in front of everyone. To everyone's surprise, Su Jianian kept a straight face and ultimately said nothing. He merely shot me a fleeting glance before turning to Song Tao. Don't mind her, let me take you to the hospital first. With that, he carried Song Tao out of the private room. The moment they left, my brother couldn't wait to pry into the gossip. That Su Jianian guy never gets drunk no matter how much he drinks. Spill it. What's really going on between you two? Knowing my brother can't keep a secret, I decided to keep him in the dark. I shook my head. Nothing's going on. Maybe Sister Song Tao caught him off guard. My brother tried to ask more, but I waved him off with some vague excuses. I shouldn't have come to this class reunion in the first place. The moment dinner ended, I made up an excuse to leave. Walking alone down the street, I saw couples and groups everywhere, their faces lit with joyful smiles as they gathered to set off fireworks. Suddenly, this whole New Year celebration just felt utterly meaningless. I quickened my pace, ready to head home and call it a night. Just as I reached the building entrance, Su Jianian appeared. I sprinted toward the door, only for him to cut me off. I dodged sideways, but he yanked me into his arms. Had I not lived that previous life, I might have lingered in this warm embrace. The next moment, I collapsed against him in tears, but with this second chance at life, I coldly pushed him away. Second brother, we're right under my family's apartment. What if my parents see us and get the wrong idea? He hesitated, the hand he'd extended toward me ultimately withdrawing. Sometimes I wonder, if you're ashamed to be seen with me, why stay together at all? He demanded. What's gotten into you today? Why egg those people on? I shrugged indifferently. Am I wrong? Song Tao still carries a torch for you, and you nearly died saving her back then. I think you two are quite compatible. Getting back together makes perfect sense. I was being completely honest, but Su Jianian took it the wrong way. He rarely showed even a hint of a smile. What about you? Have you forgotten your place? Who was it that said if I got too close to another girl, someone would? Su Jianian, I said. Locking eyes with him and enunciating every word. We're already broken up. The next second, Su Jianian finally panicked. Who said we broke up? I won't allow it. Not allowed to do what? Before I could answer, my brother's boisterous voice came from behind me. I turned around, smiling, and explained, my second brother wants to give Sister Song Tao a ring, so he specifically came to ask me what kind of style girls like. He said if I didn't answer seriously, he wouldn't let me go home. Su Jianian's face instantly darkened. He grabbed my arm and was about to say something when my brother cut him off. If it's meant for her, why ask my Nian Nian? Go ask the girl herself, or maybe, you actually want to give Nian Nian a ring. At that last remark, Su Jianian's face flushed slightly. I pried Su Jianian's fingers off my arm one by one. Since you've decided to get back with Sister Song Tao, you should go to her second brother. She's injured her leg and needs someone to take care of her. Junyan, do you even hear yourself right now? Who said anything about getting back together? Su Jianian raised his voice excitedly, drawing stares from passers-by. Damn it, Su Jianian, what's your problem? Whether you get back together with Song Tao is between you two. Why take it out on Nian Nian? Seeing Su Jianian about to lose his temper again, I nudged my brother. It's freezing. Let's head back. Just got home. Didn't even have time to take off my shoes. Su Jianian called. I hung up immediately, but he stubbornly kept calling. Eventually, he sent me a text. What time are you going to bed? I'll come see you later. I have so much to tell you. Can we talk? I didn't want to deal with him anymore. So I just turned off my phone. Just as I turned off the lights to sleep, my bedroom door was knocked. Nian, someone's here to see you. Get out here now. I pulled the blanket over my head. I'm asleep. Whatever it is can wait till morning. It's Song Tao asking for you. My eyes flew open as I frowned. What does she want from me? Song Tao stood outside the door, holding several exquisitely wrapped gift bags with a beaming smile. I brought back some skincare sets from abroad. I meant to give them to you earlier, but it slipped my mind. The moment the bedroom door closed, Song Tao's smile vanished instantly. I couldn't be bothered with pleasantries anymore and cut straight to the chase. You're here for something else, aren't you? Song Tao dropped all pretense, plopping unceremoniously into the chair and crossing her legs. She carried herself like she owned the place. Junyan, let's not beat around the bush. I know Jianyan's been getting close to you these years I was abroad, but I'm back now, and we're going to get married and start a family. I'd appreciate it if you could keep your distance from him. A question mark slowly formed in my mind. You must have misunderstood. Jianian and I have a purely sibling-like relationship. Are you done? If so, please leave. I need to sleep. I barely knew her, yet she randomly accused me of things. It made me really uncomfortable. The next instant, Song Tao's face twisted with fury. If it weren't for you, Su Jianian and I would have gotten back together tonight. What are you pretending not to know? Can't you see Su Jianian has feelings for you? In my past life, I would have confidently told her that Su Jianian's heart belonged to me. But this time around, I see clearly, Song Tao still holds a place in Jianian's heart. Let me say it again, brother Jianian and I only have a sibling relationship. That's how it is now. And that's how it'll always be. This bond will never change. If you like Jianian, then go after him boldly. Don't waste your time on an outsider like me. Song Tao was left speechless, unable to utter a single word for the longest time. In the end, she left the bags of gifts behind and walked away without another word. But after she left, instead of feeling satisfied, I only grew more frustrated. In my past life, right after Su Jianian and I announced our engagement, Song Tao came to see me privately. I thought she was here to make trouble, but surprisingly, she remained eerily calm. She pulled out her phone and showed me page after page of chat history between her and Su Jianian, tracing their entire relationship, from their initial formal greetings as new contacts, to gradually getting to know each other, and eventually becoming close, from their first date, first confession, to becoming a couple, even after their breakup. During those years Song Tao spent abroad, they maintained a connection that appeared friendly but carried underlying intimacy. Watching the light fade from my eyes, a flicker of triumph surfaced in her expression. See, Su Jianian's true love is me. Even if you marry him, his heart will never be with you. He married you out of obligation, not love, but I refuse to believe it. Convinced that cold text messages could never replace someone who's been by your side day and night. Little did we know, Song Tao's words would prove prophetic. I tossed and turned all night, still wide awake when dawn broke, until my brother knocked on the door. Nyen, didn't you say you wanted to meet someone? My friend's returning from abroad today. He's in med school, same as you. Want to meet him? My face lit up. Absolutely. Out with the old, in with the new. Right now, making new friends is the best distraction. Seeing me get up to wash up so eagerly. My mom sighed that I'd truly grown up. I chuckled wryly and said it was all thanks to Su Jianian. My brother's friend was very straightforward. We quickly settled on a meeting time. He even proactively asked for my contact info and had my brother share my WeChat with him. After adding them, I noticed their profile picture was a black cat. I suddenly felt a connection. My own avatar was a British shorthair. He suggested meeting tomorrow at a Hunan restaurant near my place. How did you know I love spicy food? I was delighted, recognizing my regular spot. Ask your brother. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of admiration for someone who did their homework beforehand. Su Jianian kept calling repeatedly while I was on my way to the meeting. I hung up impatiently. When I didn't answer his calls, he switched to texting. Junyan, where are you right now? I'm coming to see you. Let's have a proper talk. Nyen, could you reply when you see this? I don't want us to grow apart. I immediately set my phone to do not disturb mode. Following the hostess, I walked toward the table Gu Xiao had reserved in advance. From a distance, I spotted a bespectacled gentleman sitting by the window. That must be my brother's friend. On their first meeting, Gu Xiao put considerable thought into it. He pulled out a small gift for me. It was an exquisitely carved wooden music box. With a gentle twist of the key, the music box emitted a delightful melody. With music, birdsong, and the gentle sound of flowing water, it's incredibly peaceful. Gu Xiao looked at me, clearly delighted, and then suddenly said, I made this. Wait, you're a med student, you can make these little trinkets too. My jaw practically hit the floor. Gu Xiao looked both bashful and quietly pleased with himself. His subtle expressions were adorably animated, just like a kid's. My grandfather was a carpenter. I picked it up from him as a boy. I gave him a thumbs up. Thoroughly impressed by this multi-talented guy, throughout our conversation over dinner, Gu Xiao gave off such a pleasant vibe. By the time we were finishing up, I was already teasing him playfully, getting such an extravagant gift on our first meeting. I don't even know how to reciprocate. I can't paint or sing to save my life. Gu Xiao chuckled at my joke. No worries. Let's meet again next time. Consider it my gift in return. Amid our laughter, a familiar voice suddenly rang out behind us. That voice shattered my good mood instantly into fragments. Turning around, I saw Su Jianian standing before me, his face gaunt with exhaustion. Junyan, do you have any idea how hard I've been looking for you? Su Jianian braced his hands on his knees, breathing heavily as if he'd run all the way here. When Su Jianian noticed Gu Xiao sitting across from me, his brows instantly furrowed. He strode over and yanked me up from the chair. No wonder you've been ignoring all my calls and messages. Junyan, how bold of you, dating another man before we've even broken up. Su Jianian's voice carried just enough to draw glances from nearby tables. His grip hurt as I tried to wrench free, only for him to tighten his hold. Su Jianian, stop twisting the truth. I agreed to your breakup request during your birthday last time. I'm single now. Who I date is none of your business. Su Jianian completely lost his temper and actually tried to kiss me in public. I wanted to slap him, but with both hands restrained, I couldn't stop him. Just then, a strong hand reached between Su Jianian and me. Gu Xiao effortlessly pushed Su Jianian away, shielding me behind him. Sir, if you continue, I'll report you for sexual harassment. Who the hell are you? I'm talking to my girlfriend, don't get in my way. With that, Su Jianian recklessly grabbed Gu Xiao by the collar, trying to shove him aside, but being shorter than Gu Xiao, he ended up getting hoisted up by both arms instead. You, let go of me, sir, with that temper of yours. It's hard to believe you're actually her boyfriend. What if you're a kidnapper trying to abduct this lady? Let's hear everyone's opinion. Isn't that a real possibility? Gu Xiao's rational and gentlemanly demeanor quickly won over the crowd. Seeing he was no match for him, Su Jianian finally gave up struggling. But just as Gu Xiao set Su Jianian down, the latter suddenly lunged at him. The two men tumbled to the ground in a grappling brawl. Even the restaurant security couldn't break them apart. I dialed 110 with an expressionless face to report the fight. Then I made another call to Song Tao. Tell her to keep her boyfriend in check. To my surprise, Song Tao replied coldly, don't call me about Su Jianian ever again. There's no chance of us getting back together. Before I could respond, she hung up. I stared at my phone, utterly confused, wondering what was going on. Once at the police station, the officers gave them a stern talking to, and they were released shortly after. As soon as we left the police station, Su Jianian, unable to contain her excitement, looked at me again. I sighed resignedly. Su Jianian, please stop bothering me. The moment the words were spoken, Su Jianian blurted out, I was drunk that day. It was just a thoughtless joke. Please don't take it to heart, Junyan. I never considered getting back with Song Tao. It's you I love, I scoffed. You keep claiming to love me, so why hide our relationship for 5 years? Why make me live in the shadows? Su Jianian, the person you truly love isn't me, it's yourself. With that, I turned to leave, and Su Jianian immediately clung to me like a lost puppy. I'm warning you, take one more step and I'm calling the cops. Gu Xian stepped in to block him, leaving Su Jianian no choice but to stand there helplessly as we walked away. But I never expected Su Jianian would turn around and announce our relationship to the whole world. The next morning, before I was even awake, my brother was pounding on my door. Junyan, get out here. I have something important to ask you. When I groggily opened the door, I saw Su Jianian and my brother standing there. My first instinct was to close the door, but my brother blocked me. Junyan. Su Jianian came clean with me about everything. Don't you have anything to say for yourself? There's nothing to explain, we're just sworn siblings, that's all. But he told me you two dated for 5 years, what's going on here? Hearing my brother's words, I couldn't help but laugh. Oh really, we've been together for 5 years, care to show me any proof? Dear second brother, Su Jianian opened his mouth, but no words came out in the end. In 5 years of dating, he never posted a single thing about me on his social media. Even when he did post, it was always group photos of the three of us. In our 5-year relationship, all the gifts we exchanged revolved around food and drinks. He never wanted anything tangible, afraid it might leave evidence. I've had my doubts and felt wronged, but he'd say I'm still too young, worried my family would disapprove, but I'm not a child anymore. I've been with him since I was 18, and now I'm 23. The ridiculous part is, Su Jianian couldn't produce a shred of evidence. Suddenly, something occurred to him. Don't you have our photos in your phone? Show them to your brother. I do, but I've deleted all the ones we took in private. This is a group photo we took when it was just the three of us hanging out. My brother, who was listening to our conversation nearby, was already starting to get suspicious. He was wondering if Su Jianian had lost his mind. You're telling me you've been together for 5 years, and it's one thing if people around you don't know. How can there be absolutely no evidence? Su Jianian, are you sure you're dating my sister? You call this a relationship? Are you even a man? Seeing Su Jianian still trying to argue, my brother was already losing his patience. Junyan, explain it to your brother. I really did date you for 5 years. Nyan. Have you forgotten all those words I said to you? Have you forgotten you told me you loved me? Su Jianyan's words made me sick to my stomach. Bro, I think Su Jianyan's still drunk. You'd better get him out of here. After that, I blocked all of Su Jianyan's contact information. I've made myself perfectly clear any further contact would constitute harassment. Su Jianian kept causing scenes at my place several more times, until even my parents found out and had to chase him away with a broom. They thought it strange, such a decent young man. Yet he seems to have some mental issues. Could he be having trouble with Song Tao and trying to drag Nian into this as a replacement? After my brother's persistent questioning, I finally confessed to him about my 5-year relationship with Su Jianian. To my surprise, he didn't scold me. Instead, he gently patted my head with tenderness. You silly girl, why didn't you tell your big brother anything? Had I known Su Jianian was such a scumbag, I would have cut ties with him ages ago. Junyan, remember this: any man who makes you feel wronged in a relationship isn't worth keeping. Cut them off clean, understand? After the holiday break, I returned to work at the hospital. The nurses at the station were saying the surgery department got a new doctor. Not only is he tall and handsome, but he's also a top graduate from a prestigious foreign medical school. My heart skipped a beat when I heard them say the doctor's surname was Gu. Then again, such coincidences seemed impossible. The world's just too vast. But that very morning, banners were hung at the hospital entrance, and even a welcome ceremony was held. I just realized the new doctor is actually Gu Xiao. Amid the applause, he spotted me and flashed me a smile. That smile lingered so long that everyone followed his gaze toward me. My colleague nudged me. Wait, you two know each other? I quickly lied. No, this is actually my first time meeting Dr. Gu too. Just as I finished speaking, Gu Xiao walked toward me. Junyan, what a coincidence. He extended his hand to me. Everyone was whispering. A month later, the whole hospital knew Gu Xiao was pursuing me. He'd wait for me after work and bring me midnight snacks during my night shifts. Thanks to his constant treats, I've gained 2 pounds. Things between Gu Xiao and me had grown ambiguous. Just one confession away from becoming official, but I never expected to run into Su Jianian again at the hospital. It had been over 2 months since I last saw him, and there he was accompanying a girl to her medical appointment. When I saw the girl's face, I froze in surprise. The girl bore some resemblance to me. Su Jianian spotted me, paused for a moment, then started walking toward me. I pushed through the crowd, heading for the elevator to get away from him, only to accidentally bump into someone's arms. Gusha didn't push me away. Instead, he held me even tighter. Our posture was intimate, drawing curious glances from others. I turned my head, and the elevator doors were about to close. Through the narrowing gap, I saw the desolation on Su Jianian's face. My heart remained utterly still. Farewell, Su Jianian. From this day forward, you shall have no place in my world. I nodded. Story 2. I rushed into the fire to save my childhood friend, but he locked me inside instead. After being disfigured, my parents despised me and adopted a daughter to replace me. The fake heiress abducted me to a mountain village, where I got pregnant 4 times in 3 years. I pretended to be obedient while waiting for a chance to escape back home. The fake heiress clung to her childhood sweetheart's arm and mocked me, while my parents remained distant and indifferent. In the end, I died in a car accident because the fake heiress urgently needed a heart. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of the fire. I still rushed forward without hesitation. Before Juma could run out, I locked him inside with a backhanded move. Help, help, 1. My eyes snapped open, only to be met with thick smoke that sent me into a coughing fit. Before me raged a towering inferno. I glanced at the princess dress I was wearing and narrowed my eyes. Had I gone back to when I was 7 years old? Xian's scream still echoed in my ears. In my previous life, I rushed over the moment I heard his cries, stumbling and crawling forward, just wanting to pull him out. Clearly, I was terrified too, but after I pulled him out, he panicked and slammed the door shut, running away himself, leaving me inside to be consumed by the sea of flames. The blazing flames filled my entire vision, stirring an inexplicable excitement in my heart as exhilaration crawled up my throat. Xian, the gears of fate have turned full circle once more. I stood up and charged forward without hesitation. Xian's figure flickered faintly amidst the flames. Just before he could rush out, bang, I raised my foot and kicked the scorching iron door shut. This door automatically locks when closed. He can't get out. Why is the door closed? Xian cried and roared, his voice terrifyingly hoarse. Shoo shoo, are you there? Open the door. Save me. His voice grew weaker, coughing more violently. I stared at the tightly shut door before me, as if seeing him just beyond its threshold. I forced a grin and said with a tearful voice, don't worry, I'll get someone to save you. When both sets of parents came running, I was curled up in a fire-safe corner, trembling uncontrollably. My mother rushed to me, crying, shoo shoo. She pulled me into her arms. Are you okay, sweetheart? Let mom take a look. My face was cupped by a pair of soft hands. These were the hands that once brought me warmth, yet also the hands that ended my life. I instinctively frowned and avoided them. She only thought I was frightened. Seeing my princess dress tattered by the licking flames and my grimy face, tears streamed down her face like rain. It's mommy's fault for not protecting you, she sobbed, her hands trembling as they carefully touched my face. I sneered inwardly. The Lin couple are extreme perfectionists. Their most satisfactory creation is me. They become happy when hearing others praise me. Then they present everything I casually mentioned right before me. After I was disfigured in the fire, their love stopped there. The way they looked at me was like looking at a rat. After confirming my face was unharmed, my mother quickly picked me up and fled the fire. I shrank against her shoulder, watching a group of people desperately smash open the iron door. Xian was already unconscious when rescued, covered in blood. He was taken to the hospital. I was brought home by my parents. Thank goodness you're alright. How could I go on living if something happened to you? Mother cried again. Anyone who didn't know would think she was genuinely worried about me. All she cares about is this face. Father also breathed a sigh of relief. They failed to see the fleeting malice in my eyes. After that day, I seemed to be scared out of my wits, too. I stopped laughing and playing around. My parents tried every possible way to cheer me up, but couldn't bring even a hint of smile to my face. They assigned me a psychologist. I cooperated throughout the whole process, eventually diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. From then on, my parents always smiled when facing me, speaking softly and gently. I think, even if I wanted the moon from the sky, they would find a way to bring me a handful of lunar soil, but still, I didn't smile. My parents grew anxious. Sweetheart, is there anything you want? My mother held me close and asked softly. My father also leaned in. Whatever you desire, I'll move heaven and earth to place it before you. I lowered my gaze, concealing the coldness in my eyes. Yes, that's exactly the kind of people they are. Less than a year after I escaped in my previous life, their precious adopted daughter was diagnosed with heart disease. That girl pointed at me and said she wanted to take my heart. They personally arranged a car accident for me. Indeed, by every possible means, I raised my hand and pointed at the TV. A period drama was playing on the TV. I want her, I said. Father waved his hand. Find this actor for the young lady. I shook my head. He raised his hand to stop it. He looked at me again. What does my baby want? Daddy didn't understand you. I blinked innocently. I want a maidservant. That female celebrity I just pointed at plays a maidservant in the TV drama. The parents exchanged glances after hearing this. This is getting a bit tricky. This is a democratic and free society. Where could we possibly find a maidservant? If it's someone to play with me, they'd have to be around 7 or 8 years old. Child labor is even more illegal. Seeing their troubled expressions, I deliberately lowered my head with a sad look. It's okay if you can't. Father anxiously paced around the living room. Mother held my small hand. How could it not be possible? You can have anything you want. I knew they would definitely come up with a solution. Soon, Father tapped his index finger in the air. I've got it, the orphanage. As my parents launched into detailed discussions, I smiled silently. Yes, that's exactly right, my dear parents. I've dug the pit. Since you love me so much, you'll jump right in obediently, won't you? My parents took me to orphanages all over the city. 3. We saw hundreds of children. I was dissatisfied with each one. Because none of them were her, the parents were also dissatisfied. Their extreme perfectionism meant that even when bringing home a pet, it had to be the most aesthetically pleasing one. After a month, nothing was achieved. That also suggests that in their previous life, the parents must have put considerable effort into finding an adoptive daughter who could satisfy them. We searched from within the province to outside it. Finally, in the south over 2,000 kilometers away, we found a fresh and lovely girl. Upon hearing the parents' request, the director immediately brought out a girl. This is Duo. Her skin was delicate and snow white, with baby fat making her look adorable and well-behaved. Upon seeing my parents, the girl's eyes turned red and teary. My mother frowned slightly. Pretty she may be, but she cries too much. We can't take her. After all, she was to be my maid. Being too petty wouldn't do. Father also nodded repeatedly. Upon hearing this, the girl pursed her lips and forcibly held back her tears. I don't cry easily. I'm just too happy. Mom and Dad, my name is Suidwa. After speaking, she pinched her skirt with her small hands and bowed to my parents like a little lady. Both parents frowned simultaneously. The mother said discontentedly, "What nonsense are you shouting? Child, who are you calling Mom and Dad? I haven't called them that since the fire." They're waiting for me to speak up. They couldn't care less about others calling them that. Suidwa's expression froze. Her wide eyes filled with disbelief. What are you talking about? Weren't you here to adopt me? The father glanced at the director, his voice indifferent. Does this child have some sort of delusional disorder? The director looked somewhat awkward. Well, she's not usually like this. Only then did mother say, "It's not us who want to adopt a child, it's old Wang." Old Wang was our family's driver. Suidwa's small frame suddenly trembled. How is this possible? This is different. It's not like this. Why? She was still muttering to herself when old Wang walked in through the door. Seeing the unwilling expression on Suidwa's face, he also became unhappy. He's 30 this year, married with both a son and daughter, and originally didn't want to adopt a child, but my father offered a high price. Just adopt a daughter under his and his wife's name, and his annual salary would increase by 200,000, rounding up. As a driver, his annual salary approaches 400,000, so tears streamed from the corner of his mouth as he agreed without any backbone. It seems that only by thinking of this money did old Wang manage to calm himself down. Yes, I want to adopt a child, the dean asked Suidwa. Duo, do you agree? She tightly clutched her skirt, visibly trembling all over. It's a bit strange. Could she also have memories from her past life? With this question in mind, I stepped out slowly from behind my mother in my little pink leather shoes. Suidwa's gaze fixed on my face as the words escaped her lips. Who are you? My mother shielded me like a hen protecting her chick. This is the heiress of the Lin family. Mind your tone. Suidwa was shocked. Impossible. You're not. In her memory, I was a disfigured monster, the kind she could bully at will, but she didn't know. The scales of fate had completely tipped in my favor. If she's not, then are you, the mother angrily retorted. If you continue being this rude, we won't consider adopting you anymore. I'm sorry. She hastily lowered her head, looking pitifully vulnerable. Of course she wouldn't give up, even if it meant becoming old Wang's adopted daughter now. As long as there's a chance to get close to my parents, that's good enough. I pretended to be startled by Suidwa and buried my face in my mother's neck. The smile at the corner of my lips simply couldn't be suppressed. Here comes another fool who jumps at every trap. My parents and old Wang were handling the paperwork, while Suidwa and I returned to the car first. 4. As soon as we got in the car, her well-behaved facade completely vanished. Lin Shu, how come your face isn't disfigured yet? Her asking this wasn't strange. In my previous life, when my parents adopted her, my face had already been disfigured. How pretty. I lifted my eyelids and glanced at her indifferently. You must have put a lot of effort into dressing up, right? Wearing a clean little dress with 2 adorable braids, just waiting for my parents to come adopt her. What a pity, all that effort wasted. They don't love you anymore. So you really have memories from before too. She stomped her feet. Lin Shu, it was you who made me become old Wang's foster daughter, wasn't it? I grinned. Wrong guess, with me around. They'd never adopt another child. They only went through the trouble of having old Wang take you in to fulfill my request. What do you mean by that? Her little face flushed red with anger. I glanced at the approaching figures outside the window, lowered my head and sat quietly, reverting to my usual silent demeanor. She lunged at me. Stop playing dead with me. As the car door opened, my mother saw her making aggressive gestures at me, grabbed her by the collar. Chenidwa. If you dare bully my daughter, I'll throw you out to get hit by a car and die. She would absolutely do it. Suidwa knew this, because this was how my previous life ended. She pursed her lips, looking somewhat aggrieved. My name is Suidwa. The mother expressionlessly dragged her to the back row. Who cares what your name is? After saying that, she pulled me into her embrace, her tone extremely gentle. Were you scared, baby? Don't be afraid. Mommy's here. I tilted my head and nuzzled against her shoulder. Consider it her reward. Her eyes lit up as she looked at father. Honey, look quickly. It was absolutely the right decision to find a maid for our precious child. The father nodded approvingly. Suidwa, sitting in the back row, turned pale. What maid? What are you talking about? No one answered her. After returning home, Lao Wan drove away, while Suidwa stayed behind. She walked upstairs by instinct from her past life. Her mother grabbed her. Where are you going? Your room is here. She was assigned to the maid's room. That night, she buried herself under the blanket and cried loudly, holding the teddy bear. I leaned against her doorway and gradually smiled. Her crying sounded so beautiful. I sat primly at the dining table like a little princess. The next day, Suidwa was ordered into the kitchen to bring me breakfast. Watching her struggle on tiptoe to place breakfast on the table, I raised my hand and deliberately knocked it over. It spilled all over her. Ah, she screamed involuntarily. What's wrong? What happened? My mother heard the noise and hurried downstairs. Seeing the mess on the floor, she quickly ran over and hugged me. After confirming I was unharmed, she glared coldly at Suidwa. Why are you so clumsy? If you'd hurt Shushu, I'd chop off your hand. I am the flawless artwork in their eyes. Of course, not a single scratch is allowed. The nanny combs my hair. Not a strand more than 10 per day shall fall, or they'll all be fired. Suidwa's tears fell in large drops. Mom, why are you treating me like this? I'm your child too. The mother looked at her with disgust, then turned to comfort me. Shushu, she's not quite right in the head. Should mom get you a different maid? I shook my head. No, I want her and only her. It has to be her. Anyone else would be utterly dull. 3 months had passed since the fire. 5. The Xia couple brought Xia into the door. He kept hesitating and hiding behind the Xia couple, not daring to come out. Madame Xia looked at me with reddened eyes. Shushu, tell auntie, why did the door suddenly close? The mention of the fire terrified me. I shrank back and buried myself in my mother's arms. My mother quickly held me tight. Father glared at them disapprovingly. What kind of question is that? The psychologist said Shushu has trauma-related stress. Stop bringing up the fire with her. Madame Xia burst into tears, and then said that just as he was about to run out, the door was closed. We just wanted to ask again if Shushu saw who closed the door. No, I didn't. I lifted my head from my mother's embrace, revealing innocent eyes. The wind was so strong. I went over after seeing the fire, but I was too slow. My father rubbed my head. It's okay, sweetheart. You don't need to blame yourself. After speaking, he turned his gaze to Mr. and Mrs. Xia. I know you're also concerned about Anan, but Shushu's condition is already very bad. The police have investigated. There were no fingerprints on the door, no traces of a third person. The door is so light that if there had been strong wind, it would have simply closed. Actually, there was no wind that day, not even a breeze, but there were no surveillance cameras there either. In my previous life when Xian locked me inside, he claimed it was the wind that blew it shut. Everyone believed it. Brilliant. This method was actually suggested by him to me. He has no one to blame but himself, being meddlesome and playing with fire. Su Yidwa walked out, with guests present. She didn't need to work. Her eyes lit up when she saw the Xia couple, immediately ran forward. Hello, uncle and aunt. The Xia couple looked puzzled. What's this? Mother smiled faintly. Old Wang's adopted daughter, here to play with Shushu. Su Yidwa struggled to maintain a smile on her face, spotting the figure behind the Xia couple. She rushed over immediately. Come join us and play. As she spoke, she reached out and pulled Xian forward. Ah! After clearly seeing Xian's face, Su Yidwa let out a scream and fell to the ground. Watching this scene, I almost burst out laughing. Didn't expect this, did you? The handsome and perfect fiancé from your past life has turned into an ugly monster with a face full of pits and scars. Xian has recovered, but the burn scars cannot be repaired. The burn area covers up to 90% of his body, leaving no healthy skin for transplantation. Pretty miserable, right? But my previous life was like this too. At least his parents still love him, while my parents heartlessly abandoned me. He is luckier than me. How frustrating. What are you doing? The mother scolded Su Yidwa angrily, but the moment she saw Xian, she clearly froze too. The intensity of her past fondness for Xian is now matched by her current dislike. Su Yidwa couldn't believe her eyes. How could this be? After saying this, she turned to look at me. Lin Shu, it must be your doing, right? Slap. Her mother angrily slapped her across the face. She covered her face as tears instantly streamed down. You hit me. The mother couldn't take it anymore. Shushu. Must it be her? Mom can't stand her anymore. Can't handle this already. I endured it for a long time in my previous life. You'll have to bear with it obediently. I glance at Xian, trembling voice, and it is so ugly. I'm scared. Xian froze instantly in place, as if stripped naked and subjected to ridicule. Shushu, please don't be afraid of me. Okay, he seems very upset. I just gave him back the words he said to me. Ahem, my father coughed tactically. Old Xia. Let's cancel the marriage alliance between our families. As you can see, Shushu is afraid of him. President Xia is furious. What do you mean by this? What about the collaboration between our families? The Lin and Xia families are preparing a major project with enormous benefits. Without the bond of marriage, neither side would trust the other. President Xia is a profit-driven person who would never willingly give up this project. My father was also somewhat embarrassed. But he didn't want a freak as his son-in-law at all. I gently tugged at my mother's sleeve, and when she looked at me, I raised my hand to point at Su Yidwa. Mother's eyes lit up. You mean, she smiled, looking at the Xia couple. Marry Su Yidwa. Madame Xia was stunned. What are you saying? She's just a chauffeur's adopted daughter. My father caught on quickly. So what? Old Wang has been my driver for over a decade. He's my most trusted person. As long as you proceed with the marriage alliance, our cooperation continues. Otherwise, let's terminate it. The Xia couple reluctantly agreed in the end. On one hand, it was for the sake of benefits. On the other hand, with Xian in this state, even with wealth, he might not necessarily marry a particularly good woman in the future. Although Su Yidwa was just the driver's adopted daughter, she was quite beautiful. Su Yidwa couldn't believe her ears. No, I don't want to. I refuse. Slap. My mother slapped her again. Then go back to your orphanage. The marriage was finally settled. 6. Because Su Yidwa didn't want to return to the orphanage, she still deluded herself into thinking that staying would allow her to regain the wealth and glory of her past life. Even if she married Xian, she could still become a wealthy socialite. From then on, she served me tea and water every day. She carried my school bag and held an umbrella for me when it rained. She wouldn't lay a hand on me so easily. She's waiting for an opportunity. At the age of 10, after serving as a maid for 3 full years, she finally got her chance. On the way home from school, she mentioned a street with really delicious candy and asked if I wanted to go buy some. I agreed without any hesitation. She excitedly carried my backpack as we walked over. I reached out to take my backpack back. You go stand in line to buy it. I'll wait here for you. Okay. A glint of mischief flashed in her eyes. Watching her retreating figure, I slowly smiled. Darting into a corner, I pulled out my phone and started composing a text. Blue and white school uniform, high ponytail, only one matches this characteristic. After sending it, I deleted the text message. After buying food, Suidwa turned around, didn't see me, and smiled happily. Did she think I was kidnapped like in the previous life? She ate cream puffs while skipping along with light steps. A van stopped beside her, and a large hand pulled her inside. The door closed, the vehicle drove away. After witnessing this scene, I called my father on the phone. My father's voice was gentle. Shoo, what's wrong? Duo is missing. I said quietly, I'm alone, and I'm scared. My father came to pick me up immediately. My school bag has a recording function, which they installed for my safety. After listening to the recording, it's clear that Suidwa dragged me into that alley. According to what I said, she disappeared after going shopping. They went to report it to the police, but couldn't find it. In my previous life, Suidwa abandoned me on that street, letting me get kidnapped. Even if I was burned into a hideous monster, in that remote mountain village, there were still people who wanted me. It only cost $100. Poke some holes in a sack and put it over my head. From then on, I lived with a sack over my head. At first, I worked as their laborer, doing the heaviest jobs and eating the worst food. When I turned 14, those unmarriageable uncles and elders started sneaking into my room. My body was covered in scars, so I never took off my clothes. Just pulling down my pants was enough. In 3 years, I got pregnant 4 times. I pretended to be obedient the whole time until I finally found a chance to escape. Over 7 years, that van would frequently come to the village selling several girls. The police never caught them, but I did memorize their phone number. So, Suidwa repeated her old trick, hoping I'd be abducted. I was also plotting to sell her off. She's so beautiful. Surely more people would like her in that mountain village. Suidwa was trafficked, halting the collaboration between the Lin and Xia families. Neither said to continue, nor explicitly stated to terminate. 7 years passed in a flash. I've grown up. Excellent genetic inheritance, coupled with the energy my parents invested in me, an ethereal grace, with a face of flawless perfection, academic excellence paired with a photographic memory, honed to near-perfect recall through training, graduated from a prestigious university at 16, now assisting father in managing the family business. My parents took me to high society banquets across domestic and international circles. I will always be the most eye-catching one. Most importantly, the unattainable crown prince of the capital's elite circle is currently pursuing me with fervor. Swirling my glass of red wine, I suddenly thought of Suidwa. I wonder how she's doing. As long as she doesn't seek death herself, she must still be alive now. It's time to bring her back. I took the initiative to ask my father for the cooperation plan between the Lin and Xia families. President Xia is getting old. People have become even greedier, hearing that this collaboration still had potential. They eagerly came to me. I pushed the contract in front of him. This project will continue our collaboration, but it will all be handed over to Xia Corporation to handle. Hearing this, President Xia was surprised. Why? The Lin Group has nearly completed its transformation, and this project isn't suitable for them. I'll only take the shares and won't hold back on required investments. As for how to proceed, let the Xia Group handle it. The windfall made President Xia somewhat hesitant. I sighed. Uncle Xia, our families have been close friends for generations. When I was young, I really didn't think before speaking to Xian, and I feel very guilty about it. We previously agreed to do this project, and no matter what, it won't be cancelled. Don't you trust me? Only then did he feel relieved and happily agreed. 5 months later, an accident occurred at Xia Corporation's newly developed project, resulting in 8 deaths. It was a shoddy construction project, and President Xia was taken away for investigation. Watching the news broadcast on my phone, I laughed and fell back onto the bed, laughed until tears came out. Ha, dead, all dead, good riddance. I heard some fell from great heights, with steel piercing straight through their temples. Some foundations collapsed, crushing people into pulp. That scene, just imagining it, must be absolutely beautiful. Why would I be so kind as to let President Xia make money? I just know his true nature. Invest in him, but keep tight control over the funds. To control costs, he was reluctant to spend from his own Xia family's funds, so costs were strictly controlled, using the lowest quality materials for everything. In the previous life, the Xia family also had shoddy construction projects. Though no one died, all 8 deaths in this lifetime were caused by me. I disguised myself to recruit workers, deliberately sending the message to the village chief in the mountain village, 1,000 a day. Who could resist such temptation? Out of the dozens who signed up in the village, I only picked those 8 who had bullied me. Then I stuffed them into that construction site. I laughed until I nearly went mad. Those who wronged me in my past life shall meet no peaceful end in this one. And, for more, the police visited the hometowns of the 8 people who died at the construction site. They discovered Suidwa, who had been trafficked. 8. Then they brought her back. Her skin was dark, her eyes lifeless, her arms were covered in scars. Upon seeing my parents, she shed murky tears. Mom and Dad, I've finally returned to you. She's either still delusional or she's gone mad. The disdain on the parents' faces was unmistakable. Just held my hand and said, stay away from her. She's filthy. Who knows if she's carrying any diseases. I looked indifferently at Suidwa without saying a word. She yelled at me, Lin Shu. It's your fault. You deserve to die. Why wasn't it you? You should have been the one tied up. Slap. Her mother slapped her across the face, only realized after finishing, hurriedly went to wash hands. So disgusting. I looked straight into Suidwa's fiery eyes and said coolly, seems you've truly gone mad. Had a hard time there, didn't you? I'll forgive your rudeness this time. You'll die a horrible death. She roared. That's a bit funny. I already died a miserable death in my past life. This time it should be their turn. Did she forget? Suidwa is so crazy. Old Wan doesn't want to acknowledge her. In the end, it was me who spoke up and had her stay with the Lin family, still living in that nanny's room. I thought Suidwa would make a big scene, but on the contrary, throughout the entire week, she was quieter than anyone else, did nothing. This attitude couldn't help but catch my attention. Barking dogs seldom bite. Who knows what she's scheming now? Busy or not, most of my time is spent on work. Every day when I arrive at the office, there's always a bouquet of flowers with jewelry placed on my desk. I grab it and toss it aside. Men are nothing but an eyesore, yet this annoying man keeps pushing himself into my sight. He parked his car right at the company entrance, leaning lazily against the body, head bowed while playing with his phone, his expression cold and aloof, standing there with his 1.9-meter frame next to a luxury car worth millions. He was impossible to miss. Seeing me come out, he put away his phone. Miss Lin, care to join me for dinner? I put on my sunglasses. Thanks, but no thanks. With that, I got into my car. He smirked slightly but didn't insist. I just got home. Suidwa came out of the room, dragging her suitcase and rolling her eyes at me. Where are you going? I asked. None of your business. I won't live under someone else's roof. I'm moving out right now. I didn't stop her, watching her figure fade into the distance. Where could she possibly go? As long as she's on Earth, she can't escape my grasp. I went to bed early that night, tossed and shaken in sleep, opening eyes to utter darkness, both hands and feet bound tight. Suidwa, you've truly lost it. The car finally came to a stop in the suburbs. The trunk opened. 9. Suidwa reached out and dragged me down. I hit the ground, gritting my teeth in pain. Suidwa stepped on my stomach with one foot, looking down at me from above. Lin Shu, your time has come. She wore all her malice openly on her face. She bent down and was about to slap me across the face repeatedly. I raised my legs and kicked hard at her knees. I seized the chance to roll under the car. Lin Shu, you damn bitch. Get out here, Suidwa roared, kicking the car door with all her might. Can't you climb in yourself? Came a man's voice. I recognized that voice. Xian. Oh, she's teamed up with Xian. Expected as much, but it's quite tricky. I know they're up to something, but I didn't expect them to act so suddenly, without proper preparation. My chances are slim. Suidwa crawled under the car, trying to pull me in. I curled up, waited for the right moment, and kicked her face hard. Blood streamed from her nose, yet she didn't retreat an inch, determined to drag me out. Lin Shu, I swear I'll kill you with my own hands. My life is already ruined, and I won't let you get away unscathed. But no matter how she tried, she couldn't lay a hand on me. Instead, I kicked her several times. Gotta admit, it's pretty tough. Must have taken quite a beating back in the village. If it weren't for my plan, she probably wouldn't have even tried to escape. We're stuck in a tug-of-war. Suddenly, my arm was seized tightly, and I was dragged out, facing Xian's horrifically disfigured face head-on. My heart sank. He raised his hand and slapped me across the face, then he lifted his foot and kicked me hard in the abdomen. I rolled over twice, the pain making me break out in a cold sweat. Xian's voice was vicious. Lin Shu, you're the one who ruined my face. Suidwa added fuel to the fire. Believe me, in our past life, she was the one who got disfigured. And she was also the one who got trafficked. Xian raised his head, his hoarse voice sounding utterly chilling. Why are you doing this to me? We grew up together, didn't we? Why would you want to harm me? Am I ugly? He squatted down, grabbed my hair, and forced me to look up at him. Say it, am I ugly? I chuckled coldly. Xian, don't you have any self-awareness about your ugliness? Let me tell you, you're hideous. So ugly it defies all human comprehension. I wasn't afraid of provoking him. If they were capable of kidnapping me, they'd clearly already decided to silence me permanently. Since I'm doomed to suffer anyway, why should I flatter them like some groveling coward? Ugly, you think I'm ugly? He laughed instead of getting angry. I'll take you right here. With that, he pressed himself onto me, planting messy kisses all over my neck. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I bit down hard on his ear and yanked fiercely. Warm blood splashed onto my face. Xian let out a scream and collapsed trembling to the side. I tore off his ear with my bare hands. Tui. I spat the ear onto the ground. So filthy, disgusting. Suidwa was terrified. Lin Shu, you're insane. She rushed forward, but a tall figure stepped in front of her first. With a swift kick of his long leg, Suidwa was sent tumbling. The next moment, I fell into a firm embrace. It's all right now, he whispered softly, comforting me. I'm here. I haphazardly wiped the blood from my face onto his expensive shirt. Jiangju, what brings you here? I wanted to grab late-night snacks with you. Your housekeeper noticed you were missing, checked the surveillance and saw you being kidnapped, so I followed the trail. Thank you for his courage in coming to find me without hesitation. No need to thank me, just repay me with your hand in marriage. He reached out and touched my swollen cheek. I looked at him. Who hit me? As soon as I finished asking, Xian somehow managed to get up. He yanked me hard, then pressed a dagger against my neck. Get away. His hand kept trembling. A sharp pain shot through the neck, followed by warm liquid flowing down. 10. Jiangju's pupils constricted violently, but he truly dared not move recklessly, only maintaining a grim expression while confronting him. Ha 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 ha. Suidwa burst into laughter. Lin Shu. In the end, you still have to die. Do you know how I've lived these 7 years? I've toiled like an ox, bearing 5 children. All of this is your fault. I've always thought, if I could just survive and get out, I would definitely kill you. She kept laughing as she spoke. The laughter soon turned to tears. I remained unmoved, watching her coldly. Who hasn't been through those kinds of troubles before? Xian leaned close to my ear and whispered, this is retribution. You should have foreseen this day when you locked me up. The pain in my neck grew sharper as the blade pressed deeper. I turned my gaze and caught a glimmer of light in the distance. Move aside, I said to Jiangju. Jiangju was visibly stunned for a moment, but obediently stepped aside. Bang! Xian's laughter stopped abruptly. His forehead exploded, blood splattering everywhere, then collapsed straight down. The police have arrived. He was armed with a knife and had already harmed me. For my safety, upon receiving the order, a sniper was arranged to take the shot. Suidwa was arrested. As the handcuffs were being put on, she was still shaking her head in disbelief. Impossible. How could this happen? The one who should have died was clearly her. I was sent to the hospital. The knife wound on the neck was quite deep. Fortunately, it didn't cut the major artery. After being stitched up, I was admitted to a VIP ward. Jiangju kept vigil by my side, with dark circles under his eyes. Do you really like me? I asked. He looked at me with heartache. Do you like me because I'm pretty? I asked again. Yes, I like your beauty, your intelligence, your composure. Lin Shu, I want to make you smile. His voice was very soft, as if speaking to himself. Laugh. I never laugh in front of others. Maybe he doesn't know I can actually laugh. When I'm alone, I laugh like crazy. Upon learning about my kidnapping, my parents rushed back from abroad in a panic. She looked at the wound on my neck, tears streaming down her face. 11. Repeatedly asking the doctor if it would leave a scar. Only after being assured it wouldn't did she finally relax, clutching my hand. Shushu, it's okay now. Suidwa has been sentenced to prison, 8 to 10 years. She won't be getting out. I remained expressionless. Just 8 to 10 years. What kind of punishment is that? Suidwa's crimes can only be atoned for by death. I want to go home, I said. They took me home and cared for me tenderly. My 18th birthday arrived. Because I was still injured, no coming-of-age ceremony was held. It was Jiangju who took the initiative to visit. A group of bodyguards followed behind, carrying gift boxes. Miss Lin, happy birthday. Like a lingering ghost. I want to, but it doesn't seem that bad. My parents were overjoyed, although the Lin family is a prestigious clan. Compared to the Jiang family, there's still some distance. If we could form a marriage alliance with the Jiang family, the Lin family would surely soar to new heights, but they don't know that they can no longer control my life, because on this birthday, I've carefully prepared a gift for myself. Shushu, Mom and Dad need to go to the company for a while. We'll celebrate your birthday with you tonight." The mother smiled gently. I looked at her. "Uncle Wang doesn't seem to be here. It's fine. Your dad can drive." Father nodded with a smile, reassuring me. I didn't speak again, just watched as he picked up the car key on the far left. After they left, Jiangju watched cartoons with me for a while. "Do you like watching this?" "Keeping a childlike heart," I said. He placed all the gifts in front of me. "Open the gifts." A total of 18 gift boxes. I slowly unwrapped them. You can tell he put a lot of thought into preparing this. "Do you like it?" he asked. As soon as the words were spoken, the phone rang. The phone was placed on the table. "Note Dad." My eyes flashed as I raised the corners of my lips, smiling at him for the first time. "I like it. Happy birthday," I said to myself in my heart. Then answer the incoming call. "Your parents were in a car accident and are being treated at the Third People's Hospital. Please come as soon as possible." I froze, and my phone fell to the ground. Jiangju was still immersed in my smile from earlier, and upon seeing this, hurriedly asked, "What's wrong?" I turned to look at him, tears streaming down my face. "My parents, they were in a car accident. Jiangju drove me to the hospital." At the operating room entrance, I signed one critical condition notice after another. For a full 3 hours, I swayed and nearly collapsed. Jiangju caught me in his arms. "Sit down for a while." "Okay," I nodded weakly. His heart ached as he held me tighter. The surgery wasn't over yet when the police arrived first. "We've discovered the car was tampered with, and it's registered under your name, Lin Shu. Do you know anything about this situation?" I blinked slowly, taking a long moment before finally comprehending their question. "What do you mean, you suspect me?" "That possibility isn't ruled out. Don't joke about this." Jiangju looked at the police. "It couldn't be her. I was there when they left." Director Lin took the car keys himself. There were dozens of keys. If she did it, how could she guarantee Director Lin would choose that specific car? Would she tamper with every single vehicle? Hearing this, the police nodded. "That possibility isn't ruled out." Then he looked at me and said, "Miss Lin, may we inspect the other vehicles in your garage?" With downcast eyes, I replied weakly, "Go ahead." The surgery was over. The outcome wasn't very promising. The mother is a high-level paraplegic, destined to spend her life confined to bed. 12. The father is brain dead, with almost no chance of regaining consciousness. Hearing this news, I buried my face in Jiangju's shoulder, trembling with sobs. Shoo. He didn't know how to comfort me, just quietly patted my back. "Don't cry anymore. Okay, let's go see them." I wasn't crying at all. I was laughing very happily. "It doesn't matter if I don't die. They've pampered me all my life in this lifetime." As if making up for some sins from the past life, I stopped laughing, and when I looked up again, my eyes were lifeless. Neither parent woke up. I arranged the best hospital room and highest grade nursing care for them. I stayed alone in the hospital room while Jiangju waited for me outside the door. Looking at their sleeping faces, I forced a smile and grinned at them. "Dad, Mom, didn't you want to see me smile? Didn't you want to hear me call you? I'm calling you now. What a pity. You can't hear me, nor see me. It's okay. I'll take care of you for the rest of your lives. You might think I'm ugly, but I don't mind you at all." After leaving the hospital, Jiangju and I went to the police station. According to the investigation, no issues were found with the other vehicles. Moreover, a thorough investigation into my relationship with my parents revealed I had absolutely no motive for the crime. 13. Additionally, both Jiangju and his bodyguard can testify that my father took the key himself, and just like that, I was completely cleared of suspicion. Finally, the police found 2 strands of hair in the crashed car. Tests confirmed they belonged to Xian, but Xian was already dead. Dead men tell no tales. However, he had kidnapped me and nearly killed me. The police have basically concluded that he was the one who tampered with it. It's just that no one expected it would be driven away by my parents through a strange twist of fate. No one would know that the hair was pulled out by me when Xian kidnapped me, nor would they know that my father is left-handed and has a habit of taking things from the left. It's already very late. The police said I could go back now. I suddenly asked, "Is Suidwa still in detention? Can I go see her?" Suidwa and I grew up together. So the police thought I was being sentimental. She was trying to kill me, yet I still visited her. Everyone thinks I'm too kind. Jiangju also frowned. "What's the point of seeing her? You can go back first." He paused. "You go ahead. I'll wait for you outside." I went in. After a careful glance around, there were no surveillance cameras, and the officer had left. In this small space, only Suidwa and I remained. She glared at me fiercely. "What are you here for? To laugh at me?" I smiled faintly. "Suidwa, let me tell you a secret, one you don't know. Actually, you're Xian's biological sister. What nonsense are you talking? I'm not lying. In my past life, I always thought you resembled Lady Xia a bit. In this life, I secretly verified it. It's true. I smiled at her. What? She was too shocked to speak. In your past life, you even married Xian, Suidwa. How did your brother taste? She clenched her fists, trembling uncontrollably. You're lying to me, right? Stop talking nonsense. There's no way. I sighed. Ah, what a pity. President Xia is in prison for the jerry-built project. Xian is dead. And although the Xia family is not what it used to be, a starved camel is still bigger than a horse, roughly estimated. It's still worth about 40 or 50 million. A glimmer flashed in her eyes. I couldn't help but laugh. However, all of this is in Madame Xia's hands. I'll find a way to take it. If I can't get it, I'll bankrupt the Xia family. Don't think you can inherit the family fortune just by getting out of prison. You, Suidwa gritted her teeth. Lin Shu, I'm already like this. What more do you want from me? I stood up with a smile. By the way, you guessed right. It was indeed me who had you kidnapped. You. Before she could finish her sentence, she suddenly clutched her chest and curled up in pain. I watched her struggle with amusement for about a minute before hastily running out. Officer, she seems to be sick. Just before he rushed out, Wu Jiang suddenly had a heart attack. The police asked me what happened. With a tearful voice, I told her my parents were in a car accident, and she suddenly acted like this. The officer didn't believe it. What does your parents' accident have to do with her? I shook my head. I don't know either. But she's always called my parents mom and dad since childhood. The director, Uncle Wan, they all know about it. She's always been strange. Whether the police believed me or not, I still left. She died of a heart attack. Having never gone to the hospital for a checkup before, no one knew she had heart problems, and I bear no responsibility whatsoever. My birthday passed in a flurry of chaos, but it was the happiest day of my life. So happy that I forgot to suppress the smile on my lips. 14. Jiangju was driving when he suddenly asked me, "Did you do all this?" I paused and glanced at him. He kept his eyes on the road, voice calm.